am with Veli and Jesse, and what a day 2 of stage 2 so far. So much excitement. I was saying it earlier, I was sweating, but SSG pulling it off against E United. But we are ready to roll right into the matchup of TSM versus Disrupt. Before we chat about that, though, Veli, you got your laptop? Yes, on Monday I asked you. I'm like, you got your laptop
I always
ready?
got my laptop.
Okay, I know. It's always
Yes.
within arm's reach. Thank you, Predator, our lovely sponsor. We love our laptops. I have the Predator 900, and it's got this, like, flip screen, and then I can, like, you know, look like I'm in a movie and I'm like moving stuff around on here.
Oh, so you think you
yeah,
nice,
I'm fancy
huh?
over here.
Just flex on everybody.
I'm fancy.
My screen just goes up and down. I got the Triton 700. It's amazing though. The screen doesn't get jiggy like that, but I love it. I've been playing some fun games, some Assassin's Creed on it. It's actually great.
Aw, and of course
thank you,
we're flexing because Jesse, what is
so
going
close.
on with your
Jesse's
laptop?
it's in route.
Okay, I can
Figured
go pick
out.
it up right now, but it's a 2-hour drive, so I couldn't go do it in the middle of the show. So next week I will have a laptop. That's Canada Post for you.
Yeah, work in progress on that one there. But yes, Predator, big thank you for the laptops. But we are actually going to just start talking about these teams, gentlemen. So let's get right into TSM. TSM finished second at the August Major, destroyed by DZ in the finals. That was kind of painful to watch, to be honest. But Veli, they are hoping to rebound from that crushing defeat. Do you believe in them? Can TSM do it today?
They should be able to
Yeah.
do it. Disrupt Gaming just had a really big team change. I'm gonna let Jesse answer that if he gets asked that question. But TSM, they've had hard losses before. Look at 6 Invitational, but they always bounce back strong. You know why? It's the captain, Achieve. Achieve to me, we always talk about Merc, Bolo, everyone else on his roster, but Achieved, he's just that assassin with frag grenades running around fragging everyone out. He does it all. I love him, and I'm looking forward to seeing him step up to get this W.
Yeah, such a wonderful lineup. And, you know, Jesse, just real talk here. TSM has been right around second and third in the U.S. division. What has been missing here? What do they need to get right if they want to be number one in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things you can say about TSM, obviously, and they are one of the best teams in North America. But if you're looking for some things that they can improve on, some things that I'm not too fond about with them, I'd say the one thing is that they can be a little bit stagnant on their strategies. There are times where they get a good strat, they get a good map, and they run it, and they run it, and they run it, and can kind of get sort of samey. And when they go up against a really good team, such as a team like Dark Zero, who can put in a lot of prep time and really nail down exactly what you're going to do, and even find, you know, adaptations that you might be bringing, they really can struggle. And I actually made a little short video for you guys to watch that breaks down what happened at the Major on Oregon, which was TSM's best map all season long. But they did struggle quite heavily to Dark Zero, and that was due to a lot of adaptations. Let's see if we can roll that video, and you can see for yourself. How's it going? It's Jesse, and today we're taking a look at TSM's top floor take on Oregon, the 3 main elements that allowed them to dominate this map for so long. And now we're going to look at how Dark Zero countered each of those 3 elements to beat TSM in the grand finals of the North American Major. Let's get into it. The first element of the stack is going to be the big tower take. Note there's 1, 2, 3, 4 players up here. Everybody except for Sledge is present to try to get this wall opened as quickly as possible. And we'll take a look now to see how Auction try to counter this. And it's going to be Vertical, who tries to make this play, but he's not going to have too much success, and we'll check out why. So they start to open this doorway, the EMP goes off to destroy the mute jammer, here comes the jumping from Vertical, and in an instant everybody is gone. We had Merc on the Zofia jump out this back window here, and then we had the Thatcher and the Thermite just jump out of this window. So there's nobody for Vert to kill. The only player still in here is going to be the Nomad, just sitting on the tower stairs. And as we continue on with this video, we can see exactly how this plays out. It's an easy frag, as obviously Vertical has no idea what to look for. Second element is the roam clear. While the other 4 members are out clearing big tower, Achieved is making sure that this kitchen and dining area, as well as small towers and showers, are all clear of roamers. He can utilize this space to then throw grenades from below on common defender positions, and then help out his team by pushing white stairs or big window or wherever he's needed. You see he gets this kill onto Biologic, and consistently Achieve's able to get these roamers killed without really too much help. The third element is the window play. Oftentimes, the second exothermic charge doesn't work out on the closet wall, and so they need to take some other options. And we'll see here how many different windows TSM can utilize. They've got Geo who can move over to the big window, Bolo gets on the games window, and then Merc either gets on the dorms window, which he did back in round 2, or he can come downstairs to help out Achieved and push up white stairs eventually. So how did Dark Zero counter this? Well, for the first element, they know that they can't run into the tower because they're going to be too slow to make it there. So instead of running in, they go ahead and toss the C4 in, and take a look at the positioning from TSM. They've got Shaw in the same position he's always holding. Merc is underneath the window to stop the same runner if he hears it, or just to hold the angle onto the doorway, and Geo's actually stayed inside as well, so they have a 3-way crossfire on the breach. There is no way anybody is running from attic into this area of the map. But the C4 that gets tossed out by Mint lands directly on its mark, and as we play this video, we'll watch as Shala doesn't quite make it, and boom it goes. Not a chance in the world. The second element is that roam clear, and it starts off pretty good for TSM. They get the headshot onto Hyper, Bolo's rotated over towards the school bus and finds that headshot through the window. But they've still got to find Hot and Cold, and he's in a really powerful position. A, because he's holding down this bottom site, but also because take a look at this. These holes in the floorboards are going to make it impossible for Geo to vault through this bedroom window and get the plant down like he often wants to do. And they've opted not to open the closet wall because they were too afraid of Eclipse going for this impact trick. They were too afraid of the C4 canceling out the exothermic. So they said screw it already. Geo is committed to this big window, and with Hot and Cold down here, it's going to be impossible for him to vault in. So this is a must-take room to come in for TSM, and let's see how they deal with them. Watch on the right-hand side of your screen. Achiev's going to swap to his nade. He's going to throw it out, but then watch Hyper. Here's that grenade get prepped and does what he should. Unfortunate Bolo doesn't catch him on this rotate, by the way. He'll get the trade, but either way, there's Hot and Cold getting the kill, and it's a 1-for-1 exchange, but you've still dealt a lot of damage, and this is where typically TSM have gotten a lot of their frags. So with time low, TSM need to make a move. They're going to try to take 3 separate 1v1s, but Dark Zero have the intel. They're going to make sure all 3 of these 1v1s happen with advantage. So let's take a look at how this happens. First, Bolo at the top of white stairs is going to eat a Toxic Babe and then die to the player lying on the ground. He's got no hope of winning that. In the kill feed, we miss it live, but we'll catch it in the kill cam. We'll see how these other 2 kills go with the favor of Dark Zero, and they play them with advantage. The first one is a crossfire. It's being played both by the Mira and the Smoke inside of kids' dorms, and Mark has no chance as he vaults in through the window. And then the second one is Skies, utilizing a mirror window and a Toxic Babe at the same time. Combine that with the time advantage, and there's absolutely no chance that the Thermite is going to make it through that window alive. And just like that, Dark Zero do it. Auction Esports and many other teams couldn't, beating TSM when they defend on that top floor. They go on to beat TSM on the map and in the series and go on to be crowned the North American champions.
All right, Jesse.
That was such a handsome analyst. I love that.
Belly
Who is he?
Belly was so distracted
Let's
by
not-
your hair and the lighting that he was like, wait, what is he talking about? But Jesse,
So handsome.
we
Who
really
is this guy?
appreciate that. Thank you so much for breaking that all down for us. But we got to get to Disrupt, who are second to last in the U.S. division right now. Aw, when I read that, that makes me feel sad. But you know what? They had some flashes of greatness during stage 1. I don't think anyone can deny that. Straight up, they did choke on a lot of maps and let wins slip from their grasp, but they have made some roster changes. Disrupt, Nyx, and they added J90. So, Jesse, how do you think this changeup is going to bode for Disrupt?
I think this is a change that shocked a lot of people. I had a chat with Evil Waffle, the coach of Disrupt Gaming. He explained that there was nothing really wrong with Nyx's playstyle. They thought that his IGLing was really, really helpful to the team, but they just felt like he didn't fit into sort of the atmosphere that they wanted. Felt like there was some pressure being placed on the other players, and the hope for Disrupt Gaming is that with this roster change, the rest of the team will be playing better. And they really do need that, because NJR aside, and even NJR at some maps, this team really didn't play great across the board. They had a couple players slipping up in the stats, and even some of the more supportive players like Reed and Retro, you know, weren't necessarily pulling their weights, even though they were playing those supportive roles. From what I've heard, Retro is largely taking up that IGL role, and Reed's going to be supporting late round as well. J90 is a great player, obviously tested on the Sonics and did very well there. So I don't think it's the biggest change. I don't think it's like a power player coming in like Rexon or Kansan. But I'm hoping the rest of the team gets elevated from this move and they can start finding results again.
And Veli, obviously Disrupt hoping that adding J90 and dropping Nyx will help them, but I want to look at this entire team as we look at their gaming room right now. Do you think that they truly have what it takes to take down this team, TSM? I mean, this is a very, very good team.
Okay, this is an uneducated guess, right? I felt like Nyx was one of the top 2 performers on that roster. I felt like he did a lot of things that gave him an opportunity to win rounds. So the fact that he's removed, and for the reasons that I heard, it's their business, right? I am gonna wait and see if this Jane pickup is gonna work well. We saw Jane with Sonics. Jane is such a great player. There's great players on this roster as well. We all know who NJR is, right? I love Reed myself, but I'm gonna save my opinions to see how this match turns out. I feel like against TSM, this is actually a really good matchup for Disrupt Gaming. So if they can manage to pull out a third map, a win, or just have the game close as hell, that'll show that the team is really progressing. But if they have a hard loss, then we're gonna have to look at this season and also the roster change they recently made.
So we're talking a lot about the roster here. And you know what? Actually, I just heard from our producer. Yeah, sorry, gentlemen. I just heard from our producer that we are moving into the map selection process. So I do want to get things going and move into that. So let's see if we can get that information up on your screen, and y'all can do some analysis on the map vetoes. So the map selection process has begun. Here is that information, gentlemen.
All right. Coastline, Consulate banned out. Villa for TSM makes a ton of sense. This is one of their best maps. They're 3-1, and their only loss was, I believe, 7-8. Yeah, to Dark Zero, so that's nothing to scoff at. Disrupt Gaming picking Cafe. Seems like a pretty decent map for them overall throughout the first stage. They did win it once, so that's good going for them. And then Theme Park. Disrupt haven't won it yet. Their last match was 7-1 loss to TSM, or to Tempo Storm, I should say. But also not a great map for TSM. They're 1-3 in stage 1. So yeah, this is the last map will be interesting if we get there, considering neither team have really looked good on that map.
Yeah.
All right, well, gentlemen, let's get right into talent predictions and get things moving here. And Veli, who are you picking? You picked United,
TSM.
So I don't know what you're gonna pick. Oh, TSM. Okay.
No. Okay, no. Like, I just want to just put out there, like, I don't dislike Disrupt Gaming. I'm unsure about how this roster is gonna look, because I really did like Nyx's productivity on this roster. So it's just confusing to me. I just don't understand. I'm rocking with TSM because I understand what this team is about. They're about greatness. If Disrupt Gaming makes this a good game, like I said, I want to be shocked. I can't wait to see what they have. But TSM all the way.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just a little bit nervous about the roster changes for them. We'll have to see how that plays out. Jesse, who are you going with?
I mean, first things first, Disrupt Gaming need to do well here, because the 3 teams that you expect to be fighting to not get relegated are probably E United, Tempo Storm, and Disrupt Gaming. Tempo Storm just beat a top 4 team. E United looked very good in their first matchup. If this is like a terrible game and TSM roll over Disrupt Gaming, that's very bad sign, because they are probably the only team that's still looking towards that relegation spot in that case. I'm going to go TSM as well. I'm not super sold on this roster move, and I just think TSM is a fantastic team. But this is one I'm going to be watching really closely, because if Disrupt Gaming don't at least put up a good fight, I'm real worried they're about to get relegated at the end of the season.
All right.
Everything Jesse said is a narrative for Disrupt Gaming season, so we really have to follow that.
For sure.
Closely.
All right. Well, talent predictions are locked in. And, you know, I always tell y'all, please make sure that you follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. You know, Monday was so weird. Veli, your lights almost fell on your head.
Yeah.
Jesse pulling out the flip-flop. Some very awful meme was made of me. So all I can say is, please, if you don't already, make sure that you follow us on our social media. All those accounts are down there as well. And of course, I definitely encourage you to follow Jesse and Veli. Veli tweets about his food constantly, shopping, there's memes, and if you really want some like amazing in-depth analysis, Jesse is your man to go to. Veli has great analysis too, but I mean, Jesse is our big brain for a reason.
No.
Exactly.
We're two different analysts, right? Like I'm the fun, emotional analyst. Jesse's the nerd, right? He's the nerd that's gonna say no, because X plus Z is why Bolo plays now, and I'm like, yo, chill, yo, like. They're going to theme park. Relax. Like, let's just talk about that.
Listen, sometimes the numbers have to be crunched.
The producer just said nerds are cool in my ear.
Aww,
so
yeah,
I agree.
We love Jesse and his nerdiness. I honestly would love to see Rainbow Six trivia between Rams and Jesse. Like, I would actually pay to see that.
Oh, gosh.
I know. That would be... I don't know. I'm going to say that it would end in a tie.
I think Rams has been in the scene longer.
That guy...
that's the big issue.
He eats, sleeps, bleeds Rainbow Six, man. Like, it is just
Quick
his
question.
whole heart. Yeah.
Jesse, do you do VOD reviews on stream?
On occasion, I'll do a little bit of stat collection and VOD reviews on stream. Yeah, every now and again.
I'm just saying, if you do something like that content piece we just saw, I might tune in.
That was awesome.
There's a lot of people out there that might do the same.
Yeah, we can get the pen out and go over some rounds, just like we did in that video. I can spend a lot more time when we're on stream, right? I gotta go a little bit quick when we're in those videos, but you can spend a good like 20-30 minutes on one round if it's an in-depth strategy enough, right? Like that's just what Siege is. So yeah, I mean, a lot of pros do that, and I certainly have a good time with it as well.
Yeah, I think it was on Sunday. I hopped into Jesse's stream and he was breaking down like how he studies for his analysis. So make sure you check it out. Occasionally, I'll even play with him, and I'm usually eating a bunch of peanut butter. I haven't played with Veli yet. How has that not happened?
I don't know.
We'll get the stack
All
going.
right.
We can go.
Well, I'm here
The
for it.
stat.
I'm here for it. Y'all are gonna have to carry me, but it'll definitely be interesting. And again, I always have the lovely snacks. Peanut butter is my go-to while I'm streaming. What about y'all? Really? Y'all don't have a go-to streaming snack?
You sound very insulted that we didn't have an answer right away.
I mean,
there,
I
Jackie.
guess I'm
Just
always
say
eating when I'm
anything.
streaming, so.
I'm gonna get made fun of though.
Okay.
Like I got. No, you know, we're not gonna talk about that now because we got a match coming up. But TSM against Disrupt Gaming.
We
I'm sorry.
digress.
Just for those of you at home, you're wondering what's going on. We're getting everybody
Yes.
together in the lobby, ready to start the game before we throw it to Blue and Stokes. But yeah, Jesse, it's kind of scary for the simple fact. Now, people that are just tuning in to Rainbow Six, they don't know what relegation means in our world, right? And with the system that we have in place now, there's a long way to get back into the pro side of things to get knocked down, right?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. There is a really long trek. Obviously, we have one relegation match a year in the new format, so that means that you can play like all through Challenger League, and then it all comes down to this, right? Right now, we're getting close to the start of the second stage of Challenger League, and that's when teams are going to be playing. So important they don't lose matches because they need to, do as well as they can to get to that relegation spot. It was originally scheduled to be on LAN, with the world the way it is. I don't know if it will be on LAN. But still, it will be at the North American finals, however that ends up going down. And yeah, there's some really good teams down in Challenger League. There's also just announced a couple days ago, Challenger League is being live streamed. It was being posted on YouTube as like post VODs, and now in Stage 2, all the games will be streamed live. So that's really awesome to see. There's some really talented community casters that I've worked with a bunch, and some new ones into the scene as well that have been putting in a ton of work behind the scenes. So yeah, there's a lot in the Tier 2 scene to take a look at.
And gentlemen, it sounds like our teams are very, very close to being ready. So we're just going to take a short break, and then TSM versus Disrupt. Super excited about this matchup. So everyone at home, don't go anywhere. That matchup coming up after this break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American League. It is just about time for our second match of the evening here. TSM is about to go up against the new Disrupt Gaming, and Stokes, you get to join me here once again tonight. What do you think of the matchup that's sitting in front of us right now?
Oh, super excited for it, man. Super stoked. We got a lot of things to offer here with some new faces coming in. And specifically J9, I'm very excited to see how he does with this roster coming in for Nyx.
It's an interesting change, of course. The analyst desk already touched on this a little bit, but removing Nyx for J9 is an interesting swap when you look at the two players' history. Nyx obviously having quite a bit of experience at the top level for, I think, going back over a year now. And at least looking at the previous stage, some pretty good individual performances as well. J9, of course, a much shorter history, as far as I was able to tell just off of like searching on Wikipedia and whatnot, of really only stepping up to the plate to this level, the pro level that is, as of this season, and really only as a stand-in. This is his first time coming in as a full-fledged member of the roster. So what do we think of that change-up?
For me, looking back to when he played on the Sonics, he did indeed perform and help the team out a lot, especially, you know, fulfilling that sub role extremely well. Obviously, not being a key component to the team makes things difficult. You're just there and you know it's only for that season or forever or for however long, right? But looking over the stats and just comparing play between him and Nyx, I do believe Nyx edges them out just a touch, but J9 coming into the roster, actually being a player there, and then working around his playstyle and working him into the mix could definitely help to elevate him to a new level. He already showed that he's good enough to play at this level, but now that he's fully implemented into the team, it could be a completely different story.
Certainly going to be a true test, considering that the leadership for Disrupt has switched as well. Meanwhile, however, on the other side of the coin for TSM, things have been looking very good as of late, including an amazing performance at the Major from Bolo, who showed up in pretty much all those matches. I think there was only like one series where he had kind of bad stats throughout the Major. Other than that, it was a really lights out performance from him. Even in the final, where unfortunately we weren't able to get a map going against DZ, still shined out there in that series as well. So the question, looking at today's matchups, is not just J9O we have to look at as well. There's a community poll question for you guys. We want to know who is going to outfrag the other one in this matchup. Go ahead and let us know over on the social media channels at R6 Esports NA. Is it going to be NJR that's going to be outfragging his opponent in this poll, or will it be Bolo taking the top prospects here today? I think I know which way that poll is going to go. It's not even really fair to NJR, unfortunately, but we'll get the results a little bit later on in the stream on that one.
You're putting him up against the social media titan that is Bolo. So it's an impossible battle, honestly.
Absolutely the case. But other than that, the maps are kind of an interesting one for this series as well. When you look at the overall like win rates these teams have had going back on a previous stage, looking at maps for Disrupt is actually kind of difficult, to be honest, because it doesn't seem like they have a massive trend with regards to where they necessarily want to take each series. And even away from that, now that the leadership has changed, all of that historical data could go out the window too. But overall, looking at the three maps here, we're going to be starting out on Villa right now, by the way. They've got a 0% win rate on Villa, a 33% win rate on Cafe, and a 0% win rate on Theme. So this is going to be a tough series nonetheless, but let's see if they're going to be able to bring enough firepower to the table to get over TSM anyway, as we're going live now, folks, with the first map here on Villa.
Well, my friend, we're headed to Italy for the first map. As you said, we're going to be here on Villa. Let's jump right into it, folks. Thatcher going to be our first ban here. Not very surprising at all when it comes to Villa. Villa, a map overall that we've been seeing a lot of play on within like the, recent year, I would say. And ever since it really came out, Villa, a map that's been a favorite of a lot of pro teams. And even more so now with the recent, lighting change. Makes it a little bit easier to see, as well as with the skin bans that we now have. Nobody can be running any of those pesky skins that were so difficult to see on this map.
Gonna end up with both a Thatcher and an Ace ban to remove our two attackers from the pool, meaning Hard Breach is gonna be a little bit of extra effort, at least for TSM at the start and later for Disrupt. We'll see Kaid get knocked out first in the defender bans, followed up by Valkyrie, which has started to become more and more of a common ban, even outside of the maps where she was already banned out every once in a while, as that's going to extend into this series as well. Bans are out of the way, though, so we can get into the first round and see how exactly these two teams shape up finally.
All right, well, Disrupt starting on defense. We're headed to AVG first here. J9 going to be playing more of an aggressive operator. Malusi. Again, folks, if you guys haven't been tuning in recently or just coming back to Siege, this is J9's rookie season. So he was a sub for the Sonics for a while. Now, fully fledged out on his own team with Disrupt. And I really am curious about the map changes here. As you were saying, Disrupt's map pool is very widespread. They don't have any maps that they truly favor over another. But now that they have J9 in here, this could change up a lot. We could be seeing a completely different Disrupt.
Absolutely the case. Well, hopefully it's going to be some increases to them, because like Jesse was saying, they're one of the few teams kind of at risk at this point to be in the possible relegation pool when we get later on in this year. And I know they don't want to be considered to be in that pool, so they very much have to show both us here on the casting desk and of course the folks at home that should not be the case. Let's get into it though. Setup's going to look fairly standard as far as I can tell here so far. Over here on the AVG setup reinforces everything looking relatively standard. The only thing we're not seeing right now that I can pick out is going to be the Wamai, because sometimes you see the combo of those two running there, but the exclusion of that is more than likely being made up for by the Malusi currently. So nothing lost to a huge degree there at this moment.
Yeah, it's really only throwables that they'll have to worry about, but as you guys can see, TSM came stacked with those. We have, what is that, 3-9? That's 12. They have 12 stuns. 12 stuns right now. So there's so much throwable utility that they have. So they can literally burn through all of the ADSs with only half of that. So while I wouldn't change up too many things, obviously you'd still eat up a couple of those, but nothing that the Banshees can't slow down.
Other than that, looking of course to delay things like drone intel one as well with the mutant. Seems like that's going to work for a pretty standard setup when it comes to this site. As far as the action is concerned for TSM, we do have a few of them already entering the building, mainly through Art Studio right now, and that seems to have just to allow Achieve to get in there and knock out some of the floorboards, which he's already done. Will now rotate over, and he's going to work on some drone work here with his teammates as they're moving in to clear out the remainder of the first floor, just to make sure that Disrupt didn't put anyone else down here to try to isolate out any pressure. A little bit of utility gotten rid of there as well with the explosives.
Yeah, TSM picking and choosing the pieces that they want to get rid of so they can take map control properly here and handle what DG is throwing at them. DG still with full map control for the time being, just not playing around with study, much rather handle the top of main stairs and keep this away from TSM as long as possible. Don't have any grenades to worry about either, so they can contest this for quite a while. Just gonna have to worry about these stun grenades and concussions coming in. That's gonna make the gunfights pretty easy for TSM as they flood the entire kill feed here, picking up quick 3 kills. DG all of a sudden on their last leg.
Yeah, kill feed telling the whole story right now. Unfortunately, not much in the way of any sort of individual response at this point from DG. There's gonna be an attempt at it from J9, but it's not gonna be found. J9O gets knocked out here. Retro will try and hold back Bolo as he swings around the bookcase corner of 90, but the smoke charge is a little bit too short, so Bolo is still able to get the angle he needs, as you can see right here, to pick up the final kill and give the first round quite easily over to TSM.
Yeah, very patient TSM being shown here early on, and I think that's a very smart way to start things off here for TSM, see how DG is going to act on this defense, and they got somewhat aggressive, put their faces in places where it was not supposed to be. TSM takes those off and takes the round as well, so pretty quick round there, very short-lived by DG. They still had plenty of time as well, and that was why it was so very peculiar. You know, there was a lot of time with for them to work and lean on that utility to make the life a little bit more difficult for TSM, but I guess they felt as though they could take the gunfights, but as we all saw, really didn't work out for them.
Yeah, not really much in the way of roaming pressure coming out that round either from DG, considering the TSM, to be fair, played a pretty small part of the map. So the only player that was out and about looked like it was J9O, and he wasn't really playing in a position where he would have met anyone from TSM, seeing as they executed almost entirely from the south side of the building in that previous round. But yeah, would like to see a little bit more of that going into the next rounds. That's a large part of why TSM had such an easy job setting up for their eventual execute. And as you saw before that, taking out choice pieces of utility in the process without really having to worry about any interruption from a roaming Malusi or another operator. So we'll see how that gets changed up, since now they're playing downstairs, and inherently, just because of the site choice, there does need to be a little bit more activity across the entire map here for DG and TSM now as well.
Exactly. You have to be really concerned about the AVG area, the Aviator Games area up top. So that's the main area that sits on top of the B bomb site /A area for living room. And it's a lot of good verticality if the offense is able to get control of it, but we'll have to see what TSM wants to take this like.
So probably similarly to the last round, we can expect some early hop-ins here from TSM, but probably not much in the way of actual action here. Very much taking the ground that is given to them for free by their early drone work here. They'll have no problem walking in and clearing out areas like that, but all right, we're going to see a few of the roamers get isolated out near top red. That's both NJR and J9O, although NJR specifically may have not gotten spotted by the drone. Either way, he's going to decide to go back down and try to hold an angle at the bottom of the red stairs. Away from that, still a lot of control happening on the north side of the building here, over towards Trophy and Statuary going to TSM, but not much progress on moving further south than that as of yet. Not too much of an issue, though, considering we're only 1 minute into the round.
Yeah, speaking on the lineup that TSM has been bringing so far, I've been really enjoying it going into round 2 especially. This looks like a lot of comfortable things for all of these guys to be playing. Even Geo on a more frag-centric hard breacher, even though you do still obviously have to play, somewhat passive to begin with Hibana. We've seen a million people that'll pop off immediately after they get done with that hard breaching utility. It's because they do have that stun grenade as well as a 3-speed with a damn good gun. Makes it a lot of fun to play. So we'll see if Geo can light up the scoreboard this time around here for TSM, but the rest of them as well achieved on his very well-known Buck. Chala's been showing up on the Nomad all season long. This just looks like a very healthy lineup for TSM.
Achieved did initially get drawn in over towards the 90 corner after some of those shots came out from Shuttle, but the actual first fight is going to occur at the bottom of the Astro stairs, where you have this bit of a mini setup here for it's currently Retro having to play off of and doing a darn good job of it. Steals all 3 of his smoke charges as well, successfully taking out Geo, has eliminated quite a bit of firepower here from the TSM roster, and at minimum brings it down to an uneven duel when they eventually need to execute, which that time point is coming up very soon. Retro's now using his smoke charges, and there's under 50 seconds remaining, meaning he's going to be able to chain all 3 of these in a row. NJR, though, finds revenge for the earlier loss of a teammate as they take out Chala, or excuse me, just adds on to that and continues to push the advantage further for DG in this round, bringing it down to a 5v3. NJR, so far the lowest at under 25, but no signs of any progress here for TSM, really.
And TSM stumped right now, can't get any progress made. They've finally chosen to go for some top pressure right now as the Chief is pushing into Gun Vault, but J9 stops one. Actually, through verticality, Chief gets the refrag though, but I believe it's too little too late. As TSM actually ends up lighting up the scoreboard again here. It's down to Reed and Retro, but only 2 seconds remain. DG going to play safe. Reed gets the last kill onto Achieved, and DG walks away with their first round.
TSM maybe getting a little bit too comfortable with themselves here in round 2, kind of take the same pacing as the previous round, although it did not occur to them, it seems, until late into the round, just the raw amount of resistance they would have encountered by trying to go down in through the bottom of that Astro Stairs push, where if they eventually got delayed, as you saw in the late round 2, tried to switch it up and throw the extra pressure back over onto the upstairs area in the AVG sites, but too little too late at that point due to the lack of time.
I think that the main thing is that TSM goes for the top take, right? They go clear master, and they're going to actually try and take control of the living room area by pushing, Clock as well as Mudroom, putting the pressure on there and isolating the red hallway while also not allowing the people upstairs inside of AVG to rotate over towards Statue and Trophy. That was the whole game plan for them. But, things went awry once NJR started getting kills. They didn't expect him to have those cross angles that he had at his disposal from red stairs, and they continued to get caught off guard by his positioning. It was truly NJR that slowed down that entire round for TSM and made it damn near unwinnable.
Talked about how we needed to see some better roaming presence from DG after the first round, and thankfully for them, that's exactly what we ended up getting. So a massive improvement for DG coming off the first round, and now it's allowed them to immediately tie the game up at 1-1. Going to look to improve that record for the defense here now as they go over to Trophy and Statuary and directly defend these sites this time around. See if things will work out pretty well for them here.
I'm excited for this, John. Looks like we're going to be having a closet hold here. All of the ADS is dedicated into Master. So that's exactly how they're going to set this up. The reinforcements split in a rotation through the middle. J9, does he have his own shield? He does, but it seems that it's already been set up inside of the bathroom.
That's where the faith has been placed. Clearly in the new member of Disrupt, putting him in a very, very rough position like this, where he needs to watch out for every single step due to the amount of angles that could be presented against him if he's not careful with his more aggressive movement and trying to pick up kills here. Other than that, though, if he decides to stay in the corner, he's got a pretty good chance to pick up at least a 1-for-1. Pretty good opportunity to push it a little bit further than that as well, depending on the utility usage from TSM. But we'll check in with him once players start to get a little bit closer. There's definitely some sort of awareness from TSM. They may have something going on there, but also we usually see caution from the attackers and trying to get up onto this outer lip over by Master, Bath, and Bedroom in the first place. Not just going to be J9 holding it either. You've also got NJR currently in the inside of Bedroom, holding an angle on one of the windows, hoping to catch players after they come up from Repel or while trying to transition throughout that outer lip. Other than that, though, again, slow start here, although there is going to be a bit of a battle between Achieved and another player above him. Not much in the way of damage coming out from either side of that, but Chala does take some heat elsewhere on the map.
And this is where things are going to get dangerous. There's still vertical play that you can play into the closet. J9 gets Merc through a stun, though. Fully blind, but it still works out for him as he just pre-fires through the bars. Still inside of the closet. Full white once again, but nobody wants to deal with him. Charlie, you got to jump in here, friend. ARX eats J9 alive, but it's immediately traded out.
Good job here by DG on at least forcing the fights in relatively even, or in the case of the closet push, sometimes uneven, against TSM's favor anyway, terms there, to try and keep the overall manpower even throughout the round itself. NJR takes one more strike from the main master door, but unfortunately has to expose himself on the retreat due to that hole over in the trophy wall, or excuse me, the statuary wall. And as a result of that, Gio is going to be able to pick up a quick pick here and bring it down to a 3v2, putting TSM in control once again.
Well, bad news bears for the defense. Reed's dead, which means no toxic babes to assist with the situation. They do still have a nitro cell that could come in quite handy if needed, but drones play still going on for TSM, gathering that information needed to make this execution go flawlessly. Achieve still downstairs as well, so the skeleton key could work wonders, especially on Retro's positioning. Leans out 2 people there. Bolo takes him down, left up to Shuttle in this 1 versus 3. We've seen him do these before, but he's going to need to do it again. 15 seconds remain. He's going to play the vertical play with that nitro cell, but they're going to need some site presence, or at least some site intel to assist in that. Otherwise, it's going to be all done off of audio. Plant coming out now. Can that nitro cell possibly get him? It can't. Gio getting away with his life as well. Granted, it is very, very slim, but this is more than likely going to be a round win here for TSM as Shuttle dons the top of the staircase. Bolo takes him down, and TSM claims round 3.
A bold strategy from Disrupt, and it nearly works too up until we get into that very, very late round portion when the players who were extended over towards Master, most notably J9, of course, who had to go there with very little support, ends up getting caught out. And when those players are dealt with without adequate trades to make up for it, that's when we start to see TSM really take control and just a slow roll into their attempted plant at the very end there, which goes well for them. So they'll take the lead at 2-1. Start to push ahead of DG again here on the attack for Villa, as DG are going to shift back over to the aviation and games room to try this for a second time after failing on their first attempt back on round 1.
Shouldn't be too bad of an idea, to be honest with you. I mean, that first round just going awry because, like what we talked about before, just a little too aggressive on the defensive side, and TSM knows how to shoot back. So let's slow it down a bit, make TSM fight for that map control instead of giving it to them, and things should go somewhat better for them. I'm not going to, guarantee results, but I'm just saying that it could go a little bit better.
Well, we'll see.
Just a little bit.
We'll see if that changes up on this round. More importantly, if TSM is going to have just as easy of a time playing for utility selection and knocking those out. You'll note there's a pretty different operator lineup, though, when it comes to the defense for this one. No Malusi in play. I believe the Bandit is new as well, so a little bit of a different style being taken here from Disrupt to hopefully try and slow down TSM's attack.
Yeah, they've shifted things around to actually counter TSM on a master take if they end up going for that. But what we saw last time was a study side take that was very, very patient. And the problem right now that I'm seeing for this lineup for DG and their positioning is Shuttle is extremely exposed here, especially because Chala's on the Ayana. If they're able to burn out all these ADSs and get the my discs gone, all they have to do is toss a nade, and this man is dead to rights from any which way. It really doesn't matter. They can also buck from underneath and handle it in a very similar fashion.
Certainly enough, looks like he's got a Bandit battery on the hatch above him as well to hopefully help out with any attempts to knock him out of that position. Considering that Hibana has been a common play point here. Reinforced shield also on top of that too. To be playing around this window. It's actually delaying quite a bit right now as TSM have been trying to figure out the easiest way to kill him over the last minute or so, but so far at least have been unsuccessful. Once again, not going to be alone in this fight either, as NJR once again is nearby the very riskily positioned player. I don't know if that's a word, but either way, NJR is going to be nearby trying his best to pick up additional kills, or at the very minimum trade in the event that player goes down, which we're going to see right now.
Yeah, there's the grenade coming in, and Shuttle's now been downed, and he's on an island, folks. No one's coming to save him. Shuttle, sadly, probably going to die alone inside of study. But it does not mean that the round's over just yet. DG still have plenty of time, as well as the ability to refrag if needed. But just know that no one's going to be sprinting to his, saving grace anytime soon. Halfway through the round now, though, as TSM is still taking their time. They're through quite a bit of utility, though, checking in on that, and Well, I mean, looking through the utility pieces here, still have quite a bit of drones inside of that info department as well. Merc finally picking up the first kill. That's going to be under Reed, though, not Shuttle, who's still down. So technically a 3 versus 5 rolling into the last minute here.
They seem to have an idea about what's waiting around the corner here as well. There's the confirm on Shuttle. I take back what I said. They have no idea, it seems, that NJR is still hiding at top main stair. He pokes right out, and Merc is none the wiser. Finds a quick, clean kill there. Finally start trading some of this action back to what up until this point has been a very TSM-sided round. Biggest issue for TSM, though, has been safely trying to get themselves map control. A lot of their players, as you can see, are still stuck either outside of study or back on the first floor, and they can't afford that luxury anymore. They're going to attempt to pressure NJR out, and it works, although they do lose a player in the process, bringing it down to a 3v2. 30 seconds remain. They've got outside site control. Now it's time for the execute.
And this is where things can get fun. Chala's still alive on the Yana, and if you guys haven't been watching for a while, she has a hologram that she can put out, and you can actually follow in and refrag. It's basically like a drone that respawns over time, but obviously it is a form of herself. You now have the intel on what well, at least one of the members, Leia's, and pre-fires here for Chala, but he actually gets taken out by Retro. Retro picks up 2 now. It's down to Retro and J9 up against Bolo, but I don't believe Bolo has time. Diffuser down behind the game's bar, and no, he doesn't. It's a crossfire between the two. Retro catches Bolo in the face, and DG pick up their second defensive round.
One missed piece of info in this game can cost you a whole lot, and in this specific instance, just costed TSM a round. He had been hiding over on the 90 corner for a good minute or so prior to that, but unfortunately, either due to a lack of drones or a lack of time to drone it, TSM did not go back to check that 90 corner down the hallway, and as a result, he's allowed to push forward and completely destroy the remaining attackers alive in that round. Once again, a good recovery from Disrupt after dropping the previous round, and just like before, it's going to allow them to tie things up at 2-2 now.
Just a very strange round overall. Good patience by DG, but a lot of missteps there by TSM, specifically with their intel. They had 7 drones alive while Merc was pushing into study and gets caught off guard by NJR at the top of main. Like that's things that you should know, especially with 7 drones up. It's very weird that they didn't go for a redrone there or to try and get more intel before eventually working their way towards the rooms that are closer to site. So kind of a misstep there by them. I'd really like to see them, try and get some more intel, especially when you have so many drones at your disposal. It's just, it's a very weird thing because it's like, okay, that's something that it should just be rudimentary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A win on that previous site now starts to unlock some of the already successful sites for Disrupt here as well. If you know, we're going to go back down into Living Room, where TSM also had struggles the last time this was played. So possibility here for DG to take the lead, I believe for the first time so far in this map, and try to start pushing themselves ahead a little bit closer to the win here. Either way, good job by DG so far on keeping up, and especially in the late round, trying to swing things back under their control in that last round. Nice play being made there by Retro.
Oh, beautifully done by Disrupt, especially capitalizing on that mistake, right? I mean, Retro all the way off in 90, as you were saying, and then rotates up to bar as soon as they get into sight. He's able to pick up those 2 kills that clutch things out. But now we're into round 5 here. TSM and DG all tied up as the drones spin up. It's master take for TSM right now. They're going to be playing into the living room once again. Last time we were here, TSM tried splitting the map right at the short end of 90 hallways, and just tried, well, bull facing right into the actual living room area. Didn't work out too well for them as the picks were plentiful for DG.
Bolo also holding the 90 window for a little bit, or not the 90, the connector window there a little bit as well, just to make sure that no one from the red stairs was going to try to do any swinging over towards Trophy. Right to do that too, because you can see NJR has been in this position halfway down the red stairs ever since we saw players from TSM first hop in the building. Once again, he's not alone here either. J90 and I believe Shuttle are close by over in the AVG area should they need to try and work for some outplay in the event that he goes down. That's exactly the case. Retro holding that destructed wall downstairs too behind, I believe, the reinforced shield if they're playing it the same way they did last round. But TSM are now aware of this position since this was the same one that was used the last time this site was played, and it does look like they're trying to get Achieved and Merc in position to force Retro out of that spot right now. And there it is.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how well it's going to work, though. He does still have ADSs here as well. They have so much utility dedicated to keep Retro safe. And the other difficult part is the verticality to get him out of where he is actually inside of the vault. Either that or you have to move up to the hallway in order to fight that angle, which would be even more awkward. So TSM is trying to handle it through other means right now, and that's why that timer just continues to tick down. TSM can't find the answer to Retro being in sight. I think that their only avenue right now would be to try and clear out the rest of the utility and force him into a bad position. They do have some verticality, but Achieve's going to get lit up through that exact same hole. This is just
That's
a stumped
annoying.
TSM.
That she's going to get hit by one bullet. Either way, though, finally things get started right into the 40-second mark, and it's going to be Merc leading the charge there, catching NJR finally, after he'd been looking for an opportunity to frag out for so long. Now we're going to see it compound into immediate pressure, starting to work its way down the Astro stairs, the same process that was utilized by TSM on the last attempt here. They do have to take out utility in the process, and time is still a problem here. They haven't necessarily had a great amount of time to see what the site itself looks like in terms of player composition. Could lead to issues there, but Bolo's too quick. Going to be able to react to that. The problem, though, is he seems to be the only one that can do that. J9, along with another player from Disrupt, are picking up kills. The plant is going down successfully right now. It's canceled there at the last second, though. Geo has to restart it. It looks like things are okay for now as they pick up another kill, start to isolate out the rotates, but no, now it's all down. The Geo gets the plant down, though, and brings it into a 1v2, so he's not done here just yet. J9, he tries to swing over towards the doorway, but can't take him out. It now goes down to a 1v1. Geo looking for the closeout, but no, doesn't catch Shuttle above him. The only thing that would stop Shuttle now would be timing to rotate back down, but with still 28 seconds left for a counter defuse, he's going to have plenty of time to route over here, pick up the counter, and pick up the round for Disrupt as they go ahead 3-2.
I just got to say this. Hey, Veli, stop sleeping on my man J9. Okay, that man is a monster. Did you guys just see what I saw? That was so very impressive. So very impressive. I will say, though, just a little thing. A gunfight there at the end. Very close. I like how he delayed the time, though, to allow Shuttle to rotate upstairs and handle that through verticality. Masterfully done by DG all the way into the post plant. And just overall, amazing play there by J90.
Much like some of his first showings on Sonics when he was still there as a fill-in, J9 is here to impress today. And with a round like that, he's certainly, I think, achieving that goal. Beautiful stuff so far here. DG now up for the first time in the map and are going to try to push that advantage even further with another round on trophy and statuary here to try to make it 4-2 at halftime.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
All right, well, going to be rolling things around here after this round, as you're just saying. We're headed to Statue Trophy to finish things out here for DG on their defensive half. Villa's scoreline still looking like Villa, and trending towards the defense. DG with some really creative holds. I think that the thing that stood out the most to me, though, is that we haven't went to Kitchen. DG just not favoring that site, which is a site that we see played quite often in North America.
Seems okay, though, because their strategy, at least when it comes to living room, is relatively sound at this point. So that seems to be making up the difference for them, as a lot of other teams leave living room out of the pool. I would guess to say that we're probably going to see DG maybe incorporate Kitchen into the play a little bit later on in the season, especially if things go well for them today. Can't hurt to have that fourth site in your pocket. We've seen plenty of other teams start to do that recently as well.
Veli had to quickly run into my DMs to tell me, hey, I wasn't sleeping on J9. I know he's good at the game. I know he's good at the game. So, yeah, J9's good at the game, but listen, I don't think that you can even sleep on Disrupt just looking at the team right now with that addition. I mean, you look over at the scoreboard, everyone's playing their positions, beautifully right now. Shuttle, only one kill, but the one kill that he got won them around. So that's where those impact frags come in, and we start talking about that. Over on TSM's lineup, though, everybody pulling their weight. I will say, though, that Shala's been pretty slow this game, but that might be something, with just like a mentality change inside of TSM. We'll have to see throughout this series exactly how they implement him and where his placing is inside of like their format and lineups when they are on offense and defense, where that positioning is going to be. But as of right now, a little bit slower from Shala than what we're used to seeing.
Definitely the case when it comes to that performance. However, I think we're going to get a much better picture for TSM once we switch over to the second half here. A lot of play from DG seems to be throwing TSM off a little bit and costed them quite a few players' lives, depending on the round that we decide to look at there. Either way, though, we've got a ping coming out to allow for confirmation on something, I believe, on the other side of the wall here. Mute jammer, there we go. That'll get rid of that. And allow for Geo to quickly open this up and give his team access to the statuary room. Now, for Reed, who was holding here, obviously can't really do that anymore. So he's had to back up, and he's going to put himself on the relative safety of trophy.
And play that time as long as you can, especially when you have that ult in your hand. That thing can change an entire round with those 81 bullets that we all love to talk about so very much. But for right now, it's TSM trying to get as much intel as possible and figure out a plant spot here. Still have quite a bit of utility to go through, as well as an evil eye inside a statue that's getting a lot of intel on what's going on inside of Master right now. NJR in a very crucial position here, but I believe Chala's got a bead on him. Could be not very, very fun here as Bolo, the rest of the squad pushes in. Achieve with a nice nade kill onto NJR in that position. Very nicely done. Some more X-Kairos go off, and TSM cinches tighter around this site.
TSM trying to get past that breach point that they've been struggling with in previous rounds as well. They can get right next to the site, but they seem to have problems taking out some of the initial holds trying to take duels with them. Bolo gets his team off to a good start though, but unfortunately Merc is going to suffer the fate of a trade when he tries to hop over Astro's stairs, with Reed still very much looking in that general direction. The good news though, Bolo is there to trade again, but the problem being Shuttle has a nitro cell down below. The final two are going to be crew that's still alive on the inside of Statuary. They thankfully have solid control, enough so to get a plant. That's going to leave everything on Shuttle, who will be quickly shut down by Chala. We talked about how we might need to see him step up a little bit, and he does so at the very end right there, quickly stopping any chance of another 1v2 clutch from coming out there as a member of a DG tries to bring it back for themselves.
Well, you give him the opportunity and he shows you exactly why he's on the team, right? So, oh, very nicely done by every single side there. DG fighting back in every single way. Just kind of a misstep there by Reed to stand up while prone inside a trophy, but there's no way he could have possibly known Chala was inside of his sights or playing concrete over there. So, nicely done by TSM. Again, just taking their time. I really, really like how TSM is using their information game to find these utility pieces and get rid of them before they try and go for these executes. Really, really leaning on that timer to do everything right. Check all of the boxes and then go for that plan.
All right, folks. Well, the sides have flipped. TSM will get to breathe a little bit now as they don't have to worry about the constant ticking of the timer working against them here. That's now DG's thing to worry about here, as they're going to be jumping onto the attack. Much like DG, we're going to see TSM start out with an Aviation Games hold, and reinforcements will look fairly standard here so far. Nothing crazy coming out of the setup. There is going to be a little bit of an extension reinforcement onto some of the additional trophy and statuary walls that allows for extended roamers to play out here and have a little bit more freedom and, more importantly, safety in their own work.
The quality of life changes really coming in and helping out the pro scene as well. That reinforcement pool coming in, making setup just a little bit easier, especially on those extended roams. Like you guys can see, Bolo still setting up over inside of the trophy area. Ended up setting down 4 reinforcements. This is really nice to be able to throw up as many walls as you possibly need. You don't need half of the team to rotate over to help you.
Yeah, it's been a really nice change even just in casual play. So probably something the pros are appreciating as it allows the players that need to set up more utility than walls the time to do that. And those that don't set up utility, well, they can do the walls.
Hey, man,
to get aggressive here from NJR is unfortunately going to get caught a little bit by Merc, but not so much that it leads to a kill. Only knocks out about 40 of the HP from NJR.
And just enough to make a slight difference inside of a gunfight. 1 bullet's worth of HP away. DG looking for the study attack here. Don't know how too well that is going to work out. Have plenty of utility set up for TSM on this side. They might have to end up rotating here, but they're already committing quite a bit of utility. NJR's stun grenade goes off on the top of main. Might have a freebie though, as Merc swings on main as well. Takes down the fresh meat on DG. J9 now down for the count here in round 7.
That flash grenade as well, I think, comes in just surprisingly short of being able to affect Merc. That's why we see the swing from whoever threw that flashbang's teammate try to go out and take down Merc, obviously to a very limited degree of success. Merc feeling comfortable with his current position, and of course the time remaining does start to fall back, does not need the support from Chala any longer, and he does not need to play the direct top stairs angle. So he fell back over to the bookcase corner. I don't know if he's staying there because it did look like he was falling back to 90 as well, but we'll get a good picture of that in a second. Yeah, he is going to stay here and hold bookcase corner, at least until he gets found by that drone, and now is going to reverse course a little bit too, just in case it's an attempt to swing him.
Really liking this setup from TSM. It's slowing down DG a lot, and especially with the shield play and the positionings that they have him, it's going to be very difficult for DG to break this unless they do have some soft destruction to deal with these Goyo shields. But as you guys can see, they're already through a lot of their throwables. Bolo's going to trade out NJR as well for Merc, so still relatively speaking, on equal man count. It's in TSM's favor right now, though, in this 4 versus 3.
Yeah, I think all of the Candelas, at least all of the remaining ones, were used for that main stairs push there. So Reed does not have any left to use for the actual execute. Keep in mind, we still have 40 seconds left for DG to try and work that. They're going to rely mainly on their other forms of utility to get the job done. Unfortunately, they don't have much of it. It's basically just the X-Kairos charges and whatever Shuttle can get in here to swing his hammer at. So using that final X-Kairos charge on one of the main site walls to give them better vision. And now it's looking like they're going to have to try and play for a bookcase push. Problem is there is a player on the other side of that, but thankfully they still have smokes at a minimum to try and block that POV off. That doesn't mean that Achieve might not be able to get kills though if he sprays in from it, but DG are smart. They read into the fact this may not be the best idea and take the study route instead. Unfortunately, it doesn't stay working for very, very long here. Retro locked into a Malusi is going to get taken down by Bolo, and he'll get a quick 3K here at the end of the round to set TSM up for their first victory on defense.
So well done by TSM. Just drained the entire offense of every single utility piece they had, and they still had so much to offer at the end of that round. Still have to go through all those Banshees, the Goyo shields, so many things for DG to try and, get rid of, but they just did not have the utility usage at that time. Low on man count, no utility. You're going to have to funnel. They try to throw it right into planes. Doesn't work out for them. Overall, great round by TSM. Playing off of that utility won them that round. It was nothing flashy, just really good siege.
Definitely the case. And now we're finally going to get to see that kitchen round that's been eluding us, at least for the first half here, as DG decided not to play into it. I guess them are feeling a bit more confident to trend themselves towards it, so we will finally get around here from them. And again, much like all of our previous rounds, nothing crazy coming out for me at least here. Just looking at the setup on TSM's side, this is aligning pretty much with what we've seen from other teams so far as well.
Oh yeah, for the most part, especially with the pulse play coming in. They're probably going to end up having some roamers downstairs, I would say, with Merc, especially on that Vigil. For some reason, his name was escaping me for 2 seconds. But anyways, having Merc on this operator and just run around in general is enough to slow down any team, especially partnered with the utility that they're bringing for the actual site. The Banshees, as well as the Goyo shields, some Nitro cells, as well as some off-site information going on with Bolo, where they're going to be able to keep track of where the offense is pushing. This is going to give, this entire round over to Merc's hands and see what he can do on this roam. How much time is he going to be able to waste? Is he going to be able to get the picks that mean something? We'll have to see.
So both teams got to have opposite priorities right now. Bolo is trying to see if anyone's going to go in for master or laundry room takes early on, and Disrupt look like they're going into basement specifically to find Bolo because they expected him to be down there right now. So it's going to be a little bit of a mismatch in the intel gathering game to start off with at least, and also NJR just hopping right into pantry there, it looks like, as well, taking some early position for himself to work off of, hopefully within the next few seconds here. Reed also has success too, but NJR will be swiftly shut down when he tries to make a play.
Looks like a very fast execute here for DG. You guys can see J9 still on the pantry stairs as well. Shuttle hops out of bike, but he could still hop back in at any moment. Laundry still available too. So very, very many options here for DG in this early round so far. Lots of action going on. Plenty of intel for J9 as well, but he's nitro celled from Shala, doing so much work off of this information. And I believe that was just based off of audio there, as Bolo didn't even have the cardiac sensor out. DG worse for wear rolling into this minute and a half.
Retro also taking some heavy damage as of a few seconds ago as well. He'll be brought down to sub 25 HP, meaning he is not in a good position to lead any gunfights. That's going to have to come to Reed or Shuttle once the execution rolls out. That's assuming, of course, they don't just want to potentially trade Retro right off the bat here. It all depends on the team's strategy, of course. Either way, TSM feeling very comfortable about themselves, having successfully trapped 2 different members of DG inside of small enough rooms to where you can just kill them outright with a C4, and they have pretty much no chance of escape. Nade goes in, but unfortunately it reveals Shuttle to Geo, and he strikes from the second floor, quickly taking him out and bringing the man count for DG down even lower here, leaving it all up on Reed and a very, very low HP Retro.
Well, this is telling you exactly why TSM has a 75% win rate on Villa. They are dangerous, especially when it comes into for these aggressive plays. Bolo picking up yet another. Now it's all down to Retro in a 1 versus 4, but I don't think he's going to be getting too far. He's already made himself into sight here. Makes himself known now, takes down Bolo. We're near the laundry door, but still a 1 versus 3 on very minimal HP. Chooses to rotate out. Very smart idea here. Needs to distance himself from that previous information, but seems like they're privy to it. Have a Banshee here on clock as well. That's going to mean that he's now known pre-fires, but has to worry about 2 angles. The Chief swings the door since he's on defense, has no cause or concern for the Banshee, doesn't have to worry about getting slowed down like the offense does, and gets a nice kill with that T5.
Good ideas indeed from the last man standing there on DG, just unfortunately nowhere near the HP needed to try and facilitate any of those ideas. So we will quickly see Retro get knocked out there in the 1vx scenario. Another round goes into the pocket of TSM. They sit just 2 more rounds away from closing out the first map, and they're going to try to push themselves up on a map point by trying to win a living room round here.
All right, well, as you said, we're headed towards living room, and this is going to this site up against how DG has been playing. This is going to be a very, very weird one, because DG so far has really liked these horizontal attacks. We haven't seen them favor too much vertical play so far, so I'm interested to see if they're going to go about it as in the way that TSM did. Go for the master take, split the map, and then try and force your way north to south into the A bomb site. Or are they going to actually clear out this top floor? There's a lot of questions still left to be answered. They are bringing the sledge, so that could be, you know, telling of what's going to happen here in about 20 seconds.
Definitely going to have the active upstairs hold from TSM. You got to have to do it, to be fair. So that is going to be alive and well for TSM in this defense as well. We'll get a better idea in a second here for who exactly is going to be the players looking to stay here and defend it. I've already got a pretty good idea as to who it is, but we'll get final confirmation in just a second. Don't have the pre-destruction done on those 2 soft walls over by the fireplace in the living room, but that may just be okay, as they're probably just going to leave it that way, leave that work up for the attackers. They don't have to pop that open if they don't want to. And yeah, just want to make sure those didn't get reinforced and that they were playing it the same way that DG was doing so in the previous half.
I think DG's previously was just footholds, wasn't it?
Was it? I thought that...
It might have been. I'm asking you. I have no idea.
I was more focusing on whether it was soft or reinforced, but it's looking like it's soft for this team as well. So.
Well, yeah, it's definitely soft.
Yeah.
Not hard. It's definitely soft.
I'm moving us on from this topic immediately. Mark with a good start. Finding out on J90 there. Beautiful find from him. Sets up some success for TSM right off the bat here within the first minute of the round, as they've taken the Zofia out of play along with any of the self-destruct stun utility that would come with her. Not a massive loss in the utility department when you look at the overall team here right now, but still come in clutch sometimes in a late round situation.
Yeah, cheeky peek there from Merc, as you were saying, to the wall. But J9 now not having fun. Just definitely not having fun on this offense so far. So DG slowing down a lot when it comes to the offense here on Villa. They look so dang good on defense, but again, that was all due to that patience that they seem to have locked down here. But now that they're the ones on offense and they have to make the map move, it's not coming as easy, which is exactly what we expected here. TSM with a very similar setup as what we were seeing from DG on this living room site. Have the verticality inside of the vault upstairs. Still have quite a bit of work to be done here for DG as well. I don't think they're ready for J9 to get picked off so early. They are not exactly hesitating, but just taking their sweet time getting up to the actual living room area.
But you're, of course, being extra cautious in the event. We do have additional pulse player or another roamer set up downstairs, but they're not finding much. He's going to feel safe to transition over towards Mudroom, quickly take out the wooden barricade on the door leading into the site. You'll see the half reinforcements over in the vault and realize the difficulty that will come with pushing this, and now we finally see the soft destruction being done by DG that I was wondering about at the beginning of the round. So TSM do let DG in there. It's going to be a relatively easy work of knocking open those 2 walls. However, pushing to the inside here, this is where the difficult part shows up, and this is where TSM got tripped up more than once. Here comes the push, though. Going to try to make a play. A good start from NJR as he actually catches Bolo trying to rotate over in the red hole. Nearly some team damage coming out there for Retro, but he's got the trigger discipline to avoid it. Chala strikes nonetheless, however, and falls back into one of the side rooms. The player in vault also swinging in for some more damage. Merc able to confirm a kill. Achieved gets the 4th as he knocks out NJR, and now once again, Retro's been left alone versus the world, and he doesn't stand a chance in this round. Merc takes him out. TSM claim round number 9 and get themselves up on a map point.
This is looking like a more thought out TSM. We've been used to, for a very long time, TSM making some very aggressive plays that worked out, leaning on that mechanical skill, but obviously being partnered with a very good intel game. You know, intel gathering, clearing out the roamers quickly, or just executing onto site so harshly that it's very, very hard to combat back. But this TSM today, especially on this Villa gameplay, looking very well thought out, especially on the roam games here. Some nice early picks off some cheeky angles, and then slowing things down, making the offense work through that timer and try and bide for that map control, only to crush their entire soul. I'm loving what I'm seeing from TSM so far. They've really switched things up.
Yeah, I mean, even go back to the attacking side, they seemed very well aware of the issues that were occurring to them in the earlier rounds, and it did definitely look like they were trying their best to work around that. To be fair, like with some limited success, given what DG was able to pull off against them, but at the very minimum, it seems like they're very aware of themselves as a team right now, which is absolutely never a bad thing. So it's going to go back upstairs here for TSM now. We're going to go into the aviation and games room one final time. Maybe not the final time, but we'll see. Could be the final time, though, if TSM close it out here and now.
Yeah, but also just going back to that topic just for a second, when it comes to Villa, especially for the offense, it requires a lot of bodies to get a lot of things done on this map. So when you start losing, man advantage very early on, especially if it's important operators like, hard breach or somebody that's carrying a pivotal piece of utility like your flank watch, like Nomad, then anything can go wrong because now you have to assign somebody to flank watch. They have to hold a drone there or do whatever. There's just so much to be concerned about when it comes to this map, that if you end up losing man count early on, it's damn near impossible. It's very hard to fight out of that hole.
All right, guys. Well, DG are on the board and are very much looking to take some early map control. At least upstairs over here towards Master, Shuttle, J9, and one other player are all bracing for that. Reed is holding the other side of the building currently, looking to try to set himself up for success. And we'll do that by helping out his teammates with a little bit of a flank watch here through the connector window. Other than that, though, things are going to stay pretty quiet, as there's not much in the way of resistance against this movement from DG coming out from the defensive side on TSM. You can obviously see that we do have the Malusi over there on the other side of the map with the majority of the DG roster. However, he's very much detached from that process and has already called it off as he's now falling back through the living room sights.
Well, minute off the clock now is TSM still waiting on DG's first move. It's a master take for them. Clearing things out with the drones right now. Top red clear as they're working their way towards 90. Lot more patience this time around. Worried about that pick possibly happening once again. There are the evil eye as well as the default cam as DG continues to make good progress. Flipping over to the other side of the script, though, looking over at Merc, currently 10-3-6, one of the best showings that we've seen from him in quite some time. Happy to be seeing the man doing so well again.
Definitely the case, and specifically on this map too, because I can recall times going back to last year where this man was absolutely unstoppable on this map specifically. So a good call back to that time back in 2019. Either way, this round is going to start successfully for DG as they are able to isolate out Bolo and remove him from this equation. Merc, you can see, looking for a chance at revenge, especially against any players that are trying to lurk on him in the study window, but the timing isn't really working out so well, and neither is the man count here, as another kill is found for Disrupt. Shuttle thinking unachieved here, and now Merc in a lot of trouble, gonna have to try and swing against the tide, but it won't work out. He'll also be eliminated here by Shuttle, and DG really has full control at this point. It's all just about the site take now that they've brought it down to a 5v2.
Great adjustment there by DG to rotate two members over to handle Study, locking away Merc and making him damn near unusable inside of this match point situation. DG still up on 5-man count now, going for the perfect round. J9 takes down one of the members. Chala, all that's left. J9 clearing it out as well, and that's going to be a flawless round for DG. Still have a lot to go, though. That's going to be round 4. They still need to tack together 2 rounds to push this to overtime.
TSM trying a whole lot and a whole lot of aggression mainly to try and get the better of DG, but unfortunately just way too set up and way too well informed about the setup themselves from TSM for them to properly try and negate the aggressive pressure that was coming out from Disrupt at that point. So beautifully played by Disrupt, a masterclass round in itself, and TSM definitely not their game there, but they're feeling their defense on this site though, is they're going to dive right back into it.
I completely agree with the move. I think that the misstep there for TSM was strictly just not being prepared for DG to move bodies across the map. The master take really wasn't working too well for them, and even with that pressure there, you're still going to need somebody to watch Study, because a lot of the times, as we saw with Merc standing there, as we were in his perspective, standing on the hatch looking right towards the bus door through planes. So that's that angle that you really have to worry about being contested when you're going for those vault door plants. So DG does the smart thing, rotates bodies over to help with study control, and they just take their time. That was the main thing. Merc got to a point where he was just strictly stuck on top of the hatch. There was nothing that he could possibly do besides possibly win a very unfavorable gunfight to get out of that situation. So it's the little things like that that DG are taking their time with now that are making all the difference. Let's see how TSM tries to wrap their head around that.
A few more seconds here until we get to see exactly what DG are going to bring to the table. And as you said, TSM definitely trying their best to get revenge for the previous rounds here. Be a bit of a risk involved in it, as if they fail on this one, on the repeat anyway, it's going to mean they only have one more round to try and close this out in regulation before DG has the opportunity to take it to OT. So, moment TSM thinking that they can double it back. A lot of the same flavors, though, at least when it comes to player positioning. You'll note Merc is still holding the extended study hold right now. Not going to be doing it on top of the hatch this time, trying to do it from the other side, but currently this exposes him to anyone who may try to work their way in through the side window just to his left. We haven't seen that as of yet, though, but at least looking at the perspective of Retro, seems like they're well aware that something might be up just on the other side of that doorway, and Retro's alone here, so wouldn't be too smart for him to try and pressure this at this point in time anyway, so more than likely going to be waiting on his action for quite a bit there.
Oh, I really like this setup from TSM over here on the north side of the map, trying to slow down DG's master take as much as possible. Committing Goyo shields as well as a clash here can delay so much time. Those Goyo shields each lining up with Smoke's gas grenades. That means that 10 seconds to denial every single time that you pop one of those. And the longer that they take to clear this out, the longer it takes for them to get to site. We can also see some Banshees have been dedicated over here by Achieved. TSM fully selling out on this master hold.
Although with a full send hop over the trophy barrier there, he's going to end up dropping down and work his way back up through red to get into this site. Won't meet much in terms of resistance there from DG, as no one has actually moved that far into the building as of yet. You can still see Reed holding the connector window at this point too, and droning out to assist players like J9 in their push forward too. Thankfully though, DG, despite the fact they're only just now starting to make progress on their map control, they still have a good amount of time, so they're not really in a rough position or anything like that. They finally maintained full control over the north side of the building, and more than likely we're going to see some players shift over to help out Retro over towards study side as well. So DG are still in pretty good shape at this point. It's all trying to set themselves up for some kills and not lose players, but that's unfortunately what doesn't happen here, as we do see Bolo picking up one, getting air jabbed as well on the way back in, but still makes it out without a single point of damage thrown onto him.
Beautifully done by both members of TSM. Bolo still trapped downstairs with a crossfire by Shuttle. Shuttle wins the second one. Tagged Achieve down very low, though. 1 HP after that duo hop out there. Achieve prepping the window inside a bathroom. And Bolo doing what he does best, clicking heads. Merc swings study balcony into the Habana, but the fast switch from Retro takes him down. The Bearing 9 gun that doesn't see too much play, but ends up begging him a kill here in a very pivotal part of the round. 20 seconds remain in this 3v4 in the favor of Disrupt, but they haven't made too much progress towards the actual site. They've got the walls open now, but they still need this plant going into the last 15 seconds. Chala still one Toxic Babe, but he's no longer alive. It's down to Achieve with very minimal HP and Geo, but it's a frag grenade that ends up taking down NJR Shuttle. Oh, what a botch, my friend. You're going to have to rotate somewhere else as they bully Geometrics on the shield inside of the vault. Achieve doesn't know where to go. He doesn't even have a nitro cell to stop the plant in this 1 versus 4. Very minimal HP once again as he runs right up red stairs, but I don't see him getting too far. The pre-fire's bountiful, but nothing working out for him so far.
Achieve looking for the capability to swing in. That's the free one right there. NJR, he knew he was a dead man long ago. It's getting any kills beyond that. That's going to be the impressive part. And unfortunately, Achieved is just not able to rally for it. Retro shuts him down immediately on trying to swing out from his current position. And off of that one, DG are going to bring it up to the final point of regulation time here as we head into round 12.
Do we have a region that has every team being competitive? This is crazy.
I don't want to speak on the other regions because I'm out of info on quite a few.
Oh no, not that. I'm just saying, not like we're the only region, but I'm saying, do we have a region that every single team is competitive? Because prior to this, I mean, we had some teams that were quite, if I may use Twitch terms, resident sleeper sometimes. It happens, people get into slumps. But I would like to say that everyone's pretty pog champ right now.
Overall, in that last round, though, I hate to give this kind of critique because it always is looked at so harshly But for TSM, right, 2 specific instances in that round where their players made aggressive swings from what appeared to be safe positions and ended up losing the gunfights that they took. If they didn't take those fights, you have to wonder if the round would have looked different at the end of the day. Something definitely to reflect on, I think, after the game, though, as TSM still has another chance to shut this down here in the 12th.
10 seconds to go.
Hey, it's swing or get swung out here in these streets, all right?
So, right? But
Hey, nothing stopped Merc so far. The guy's got 10 kills, all right? And Bolo's got 15.
Attacker's objective is to locate the bomb.
That's 25 kills,
trying to keep
and
up
they're
with
still
each
in
other.
regulation. Very impressive stuff so far from TSM, especially on the frag, in the fragging department, excuse
Whoa,
me.
what?
Run out here in a trade. Achieve runs out, takes down Shuttle, NJR with the immediate refrag, and that actually is going to be a massive hindrance for the offense, and I'll tell you exactly why. That's Sledge gone.
Yeah.
The Banshees are still in play, but Sledge offers the most amount of soft destruction on that entire team, and this is a site that you want to take vertically. We're looking to see exactly what else they possibly have. J9 going to be the saving grace if he can stay alive. Those breaching charges are now worth their weight in gold.
Achieved, definitely taking a risk in that run out, but thankfully pays off at least via the operator choice, as the trade, as you mentioned, for utility heavily favors the defense at that point. The loss of Belusi at this point is not a big deal at all, considering not only was he able to go 1-for-1, but all of his utility is still alive and well somewhere on the map.
Well, it's time for DG to react and see what they can do to change things up. Bolo already has a pre-placed out. Nitrocell goes off, but J9 chilling in the pool. Oh, wait, no, that's a bathtub. And
Just
JR
call it
and the rest of the
bathtub a
squad still.
pool?
You'll get it later. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
You're not old enough
Oh, you
yet,
know what?
son.
No, I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about. I just got it.
Listen, you can't ruin my jokes.
All right,
I'm trying to
keep
slip them in. John,
A bomb has been located.
minute 30 left on the clock. Guys, he ruins all my jokes. Listen, I'm trying to
was just really
make it
confused
entertaining
more than
sometimes.
anything.
Oh man. Anyways, TSM DG, equal man count right now. Verticality going through for DG. Last breaching charge down for J9. And this is going to be plentiful here. This is enough for them to handle the things that they need to. But most of this verticality is leaning towards a kitchen take, possibly pushing into China. We'll have to see exactly what their game plan is behind this. They could get some picks on the other side of the map, or possibly flood laundry. There's a million activities.
So rotate from NJR here as he's going to go down into, looks like the basement garage, to try and swing himself up through the pantry stairs. Bolo is an immediate obstacle to that, and will more than likely see him if he's had any audio cues as to the rotate from NJR. But NJR are also going to do a little bit of self-drone work here. You can definitely tell the time is going to start to pressure DG soon, because it does very much look like that NJR is trying to set himself up for his own play here. He's going to have some support coming from Laundry, just judging from the silhouettes right now, but the push into Kitchen itself is all his business all day here. Great distraction, though, as it does pull Bolo off the angle to allow the Laundry player in. Unfortunately, to limited success, though, as Bolo is still able to control that angle masterfully to shut things down on the final round of regulation here and give map number 1 over to TSM in 7-5 fashion.
If you're DG, you can't even be mad about that scoreline. That was such a well-played map between these two. I'm already pumped for Cafe, John. I really don't know what else to say. I mean, both of these teams laying out everything they possibly had, respecting each other. The gunfights were plentiful. It just looked beautiful overall by both of these guys. Bolo dropping 17, 1, and 8, paired with Merc with 11 frags. So TSM lighting up the scoreboard. This is something we're used to seeing. Let's see if it continues.
It's not too surprising at this point on the Bolo regards, right? He seems to have really come into his own on a personal performance level ever since we saw his play at the major. Up before that point, he was really a contender, right? But it's been in the last few weeks where he's shown himself to be the number 1 on his team by far. But that's enough talking from us for the time being, folks. We're going to send it back down over to the analysis desk in order to break down map number 1 and get us ready for our second map.
Thank you, Blue and Stokes, for your exceptional casting as always. And TSM defeating Disrupt on Villa. Let's bring in our analysts and look at the highlights from this matchup. Whew, gentlemen, what you thinking here?
I'm thinking that we have 8 full competitive teams in NA. This was nice, Disrupt Gaming. So I gave that warning before the game started, and I was like, all right, you know, I'm gonna keep all my thoughts to myself about Disrupt Gaming until I see him play. I saw him play, and NJR is still a beast. Jade, I know, has some great moments. But I love Retro, man. Retro had such great plays, like right there.
Aw.
Retro, when he's dialed in the clutch around, he doesn't lose at all, I swear.
Yeah, and Retro even had just some like smaller kills that come a little bit later that are just hugely impactful. When Merc swings out onto him on the balcony and he wins that one, bringing out the Bearing 9, that was one that really did turn a tide. We've got highlight plays from our usual suspects. Bolo obviously had a huge game here, and that is to be expected every time we watch TSM. Merc was showing up. I think TSM had their usual play style, and everybody really did how they normally do. But yeah, the surprise certainly from Disrupt, even though it was a 7-5 loss. I'm really glad they were able to keep it close.
I'm sorry, did you see that last shot by Bolo to 2K?
Yeah, we got to talk about Bolo. I mean, he is good, obviously. No one can deny that. But Jesse, I want to start with you. Actually, we were talking while we were watching this, and you were saying that you were seeing a lot of great things from him that particularly stuck out to you on that map.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bolo, you can look at him, you can say, well, he's got great aim. Okay, absolutely, and nobody would say that he doesn't. But I think the biggest thing is his coordination with his teammates, and the way he seems to communicate. He always works in some sort of a duo. He likes to work with his team, and if somebody goes in and dies, Bolo is always there for the trade. You can call it baiting his teammates sometimes, and maybe that might be part of it every now and again. But more often than not, I mean, he is really supporting his squad and cleaning up those kills and making sure he's a part of the team. I also thought the pulse play on those kitchen bomb sites was really impressive. He directed a lot of C4s through his own C4s, and still, you know, when he has to resort to one of the worst guns in the game, he's able to pull that out and get all the kills that he usually does.
There's one similarity to Hyper that I love about Bolo, just a little tidbit about his game play style. He plays extremely fast. This doesn't need the one. I just want to put in that one little fun fact. Bolo plays extremely fast. There was one clip in particular I was thinking about when he was coming in from laundry, and I think it was Retro or J90 that stepped in front of him right when he was finished reloading, and he popped him and just kept on running. It's like, dude, chill, like, relax.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out
No,
there.
I mean, Bolo is Bolo, which is absolutely ridiculous. And Veli, you were talking about this a little bit during the highlights, but like we did not know what we were going to see from DG today. We were just like, oh, we'll see what happens. Definitely a slow start to that map. I know that you were focusing a lot on their attack, and I think you flat out said to me like it wasn't great, a little bit lackluster. They did come back at the end though. So what are your thoughts on DG now that you've been able to digest it a little bit?
Yeah, at that part, I really liked him on defense, right?
Yeah.
Especially on Villa. But during the attack, the first few rounds, when they started losing, I said, Jesse, their attack was extremely low first stage, right? We put up the numbers, and I was like, okay, let's pay close attention to this. Let's see what happens. You know, we saw an early pick. I believe it was on J90 by Merc, and then, you know, the team lost. But then the next round, that's when Disrupt started to pick it up. And that's when I thought Disrupt actually had hope. So unfortunately, they weren't able to pull more rounds out on attack, but it's still something I'm going to keep a really close eye on when it comes to the next map. Either way, I'm still impressed, but I still want to see if that attack improves because their defense was some of the best in all of NA. It's just their attack they need to fix.
And obviously, we have the statistics up right now. We were talking about Bolo, 17 kills. Dude is a monster. And GR also playing really well. And, you know, you gave Retro a shout-out. Like, he's at the top here on our stats. So definitely take a look at those. But, gentlemen, we were talking a lot about the meta shifts on Villa. And, Jesse, we were chatting specifically about the attack on the living room library bomb site. That stuck out to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Villa's one of these maps that's still quite evolving, even though it's been around the scene for a little while. Teams are really falling off that trophy statuary bomb site, and in general, they're moving more to kitchen, and they're moving more to living room library. And we saw that a lot today. Both teams decided to bring it out. And I noticed with the attacks, it's interesting, usually these attacking squads don't clear out that top floor fully, and I think that's due to the fact just how difficult it can be to clear out players outside of that gun vault, especially when there's a lot of utility placed up there. It will give you great angles, but there's just so much commitment you've got to go for it. And there was even the first attack from TSM. They started the round that way, and they started trying to clear it, and they realized, you know, we just don't have time for this, and they had to rush down to the actual living room bomb site. I think teams are realizing that, you know what, our best shot might just be to rush this living room and see what we can do, hopefully win those vertical gunfights. It didn't work out for any team in this matchup. We didn't have any attacking wins on that site, but I'm really keen to see how this bomb site develops.
And our community poll results are in, gentlemen, so want to get to that really quickly. The question was, who outfrags the other in this best of 3, NJR or Bolo? And man, I think when we looked at the stats, Bolo almost like doubled him. With NJR was the top, but of his team, but Bolo 73% there, NJR 27%. Not to discount NJR at all because he is absolutely fantastic as well. But
for sure.
All right, gentlemen, what are we thinking going into map 2? What are our predictions? DG put up a fight at the end there, so you both went with TSM. Jesse, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think we're going to Cafe, if my notes are correct, and that's the one map that TSM never won in Stage 1, so this is the best shot Disrupt Gaming are going to have. Even if they take this matchup, I'm still leaning TSM for the total best of 3. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe it'll be the first win for TSM.
Okay, Veli?
Yeah, I really liked when we saw Disrupt play on Cafe last stage, especially against Oxygen. That was really fun, right? But I'm still going with TSM. It's gonna be a TSM win because right now it's the Bolo show. Ain't nobody stopping him.
I love it, Bolo show for sure. Well, gentlemen, let's get right to it. Map 2, Cafe, coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to continue the matchup between TSM and Disrupt Gaming here. We just saw TSM take very, very close control over the first map on Villa, and we're about to jump on to Cafe for map number 2. Stokes, what do we think of Disrupt going into map number 2 here? A chance for them to bounce back, or is this going to lead us into a TSM victory?
I think it's going to be a very tall task for DG to get through TSM on this map. TSM looks very cool, calm, and collected, you know. For DG, the defense looked very strong, but the offensive adjustments just weren't there inside of those very drastic moments. And Cafe is a map that is going to punish you for that at every step of the way. We talked about it on Monday when we ended up casting that. This is a map where utility usage is at its peak. So if we don't see that from DG, I don't think they're getting through this neck of the woods.
Well, I think you have something else to show us as well, Stokes, right?
Do I?
We have to do a good amount of prep, I suppose, in between our broadcasts, get ourselves ready for the teams and whatnot. You don't always want to be tied to your desk for doing that, but Stokes got something recently that I think can help out with that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes I just like to lay in bed, you know, in my garments and just do work on this Predator laptop, in which John does not have yet, and I do because they love me more, and it'll love you too if you go out and get one. Make sure you guys grab one of these Predator laptops. I personally have the Triton 500, while the rest of them have the 700 and 900, but that doesn't mean that it's anything less than. This thing still has an RTX 2080 in it, if you believe it or not. Let me tell you, 144 hertz, it's beautiful to play on, and honestly, I've been using it for a lot of RuneScape. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, RuneScape on the go, man.
2080, right?
Hey, shout out to Skies on the RuneScape grind, man. Shout out to Skies on the RuneScape grind.
All right, folks. Well, it's time to start map number 2. We're going live with Cafe now, so let's head in game here and take a look at the bans. See who might edge out an advantage based on that. First ban's going to come in from TSM as they will get the first and final bans there of the 4 you see on the top. First one they're going to knock out is going to be Ace, continuing to be a favorite unfavorite for quite a few of our teams.
You can't blame him. Those Selma charges, so good at getting walls open. You can activate them damn near all at the same time. Well, we're going to have it partnered with something that we're also used to seeing, the Thatcher band coming through for DG. Overall, on the offense, I think that this hinders just the amount that we're used to for the offense. I don't think this is anything too crazy that we haven't seen before. Defense-wise, Valkyrie getting taken out, exact same reasons as we talked about prior on Villa. Valkyrie is just so good for information game for the defense, and to take her off the board limits a lot of the potential on what the defense can possibly do. Well, Mai getting removed as well, and that's just for that utility burn, man. That's not a fun operator to play through.
Either him or Jaeger. Well, Mai's got quite a few kind of power positions that he can use on this map, specifically on the third floor is a very popular one. So getting rid of him alleviates the attacker's capability to have to deal with anything like that on a round-to-round basis, exactly as Stokes had said. So let's get into it. TSM's got the defensive start here. We're going to see them go to the reading room fireplace, neither the first or third floor, to start things out here.
Now we're going to be landing right in the middle. Looks like we might be having a 6 pick, or that Achieved is thinking about it. Could have possibly be changing up his utility as well. But I like the lineup that they're bringing for the defense. This is telling you that they're going to be holding upstairs, bringing that Goyo along with that smoke. So they have the possibility of 3 shields to be placed down, and also limiting their ability to rush down the site or rush upstairs with these Banshees. So it looks like TSM, or at least Achiever right now, is going to be placing those more to slow them down while they're trying to go for that bomb defusal.
All right, guys, let's take a look here. Setup is going to look, again, much like many of the other setups tonight here from TSM, fairly what we expect when it comes to this site. You'll have that extended setup going on to the third floor, of course, and while we're not going to be defending this floor necessarily, you will more than likely see quite a bit of play on it, as this is where the roamers are going to call home for about the first minute and a half of that 3-minute clock. After that, we'll start to see them slowly fall back, or, of course, the control will be taken away from them by the attackers, and then the defense shifts back to the second floor where, of course, the actual site is.
Okay, well, DG's let out on the field for the very first time, so let's kick it into gear and see exactly what they have to offer. Not too much hard destruction, but they are going to be running a lineup that we haven't seen too much of just yet in competitive Siege. Capital with that new secondary hard breach, folks. Oh yes, partner that with a Maverick and you're going to have a pretty damn good time. Previously on this map, we did see the secondary hard breach brought, not on Capital though. It was from Dark Zero, and they ended up bringing the Monty out to play, which actually worked out pretty well for them. They used it quite often on Ticket Wall to get some pressure in towards Christmas, make a vaultable hole there so they actually have another means of travel into that room. We'll have to see exactly what DG wants to do with it, but I really like this lineup walking into Cafe with that secondary hard breach, mainly because Maverick offers so much here.
Yeah, Reed as well here, kind of becoming the utility piggy bank for the team with regards to everything.
Especially with all my band?
Yeah,
oh man.
Yeah, very much the case here. So he's going to provide quite a bit. It's going to be very important more than anything that he stays alive up until the execute point where he can actually use said utility. But assuming he gets the opportunity to, man, he could probably have an impact here between the smokes, the incendiaries, and now the can opener as well. Quite a bit that can be done by this operator. Already train control going over to DG. Still trying to figure out exactly how they want to play it, though. Whether they do want to try and shift through and get a plant onto the inside of dining room, which can be quite risky. Whether we're going to look into another option. It seems very much like the fireplace plant is going to be showing up here, if not now, and in the next minute and a half or so. But other players here from DG are still trying to get into position, and that appears to be the main obstacle stopping them from going for this plant so early on.
Very well played by TSM right now, respecting the proper areas of the map they need to take control of and maintain. Chief's still on white stairs. Very nice spot there to be played for TSM. Don't want anybody pushing up from that. And for DG, the take hasn't really formed just yet, and it's already been 2 minutes deep. Granted, yes, they have lit up Achieve, but really at what cost? There hasn't been too much that's truly happened here. This could actually be a little bit of a desperate attempt for Shuttle to push up white stairs. He's currently waiting for the rotate down. He does have that skeleton key, obviously, with Buck, so he can take those close engagements and more than likely beat out Achieved here because of that low HP.
Going to see the incendiaries going down here. Shuttle makes an attempt to swing back and around the corner. Nitro's going to be thrown near him, but doesn't even panic, just casually steps out of the way and is able to avoid pretty much all the damage from it. Teams are going in. The plant attempt is being made now by Retro. We are going to see Shuttle get immediately shut down when he tries to swing, and unfortunately that plant is also stopped in the process too. NJR, now the only player left standing. Not a single trade was found by Disrupt in the process. NJR is going to be able to get one, make that two as he lines up a very quick second headshot against Geo, and he swings from the inside of the closet. Now he's got a lot more to do, and unfortunately only 6 seconds to do it. There's the third one. So NJR certainly putting in an effort, but just not the time, nor the man count, nor the intel, or anything really needed to come out with that clutch. So TSM do indeed claim round number 1.
And TSM winning every single gunfight imaginable there. The real saving grace for DG was if, you know, Shuttle could get that white push to actually work, but obviously Achieve playing that so damn well, as we're used to seeing from him. Nice little perspective there. Proning at the top of white stairs, making it difficult for Shuttle to even see him because of that gun model, and to make it even more difficult, he's rocking the old red dot. There's a reason that thing got updated, and it's because the housing is huge. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, it's massive. It's the biggest housing in the entire game, I'm pretty sure. Like that and ACOG. So it's not the best sight in the world, but obviously it's completely up to the man when he wants to use himself. But very unfortunate for him pushing up those stairs. That prone angle was taken up by TSM, but very well done by TSM. You know, very calmly winning out that round with a flooded kill feed.
Yeah, obviously things looking very tense, especially as we got down to like the last minute or two of that round there, with DG in position and train, pretty much ready to go. They were just waiting for, I believe, Shuttle or 1 or 2 other players to get into position to actually do the execute, and unfortunately never were really able to safely do so. So just took a massive risk on it at the end of the day, and trying to do it without the players being kind of ready to pick up any free kills there. And as a result of it, TSM do shut it down very, very quickly. Now we're going to be able to shift, not up to the 3rd floor yet, but down over here into the kitchen. We're going to see them try out this site and see if they can chain together a second very quickly here as well. And, well, there's not going to be much delay on finding out if they can do it, as DG are out on the boards. Let's see what they're going to bring to the table for the attack.
Well, it's going to be the exact same lineup for DG. Walking into kitchen, so that means they're going to have the 1 secondary hard breach utility as well as Maverick. So there's a couple options here for them. Probably going to be a bakery take if I had to, you know, put my guesstimation on it, just because Maverick's going to be more suitable for that area. But we also can go for that top take, especially with Shuttle in play. The verticality on kitchen is so strong. So many areas that you can, you know, make the defense move away from, that is usually such a pivotal piece, especially places like the sink as well as bunker.
Jaeger is going to get spotted out here. J9 will immediately go onto that angle, but not going to see much in the way of aggression there from Merc. He'll just transition himself over towards Pillar and start to wrap into a safer position elsewhere on the map. Quite a bit here being set up by Retro on the Maverick. A whole labyrinth of tiny little indentations onto the prep kitchen walls, and now we'll go to fully open the main bakery and primary kitchen wall after setting things up for his teammates to try and work stuff from the prep kitchen wall.
Well, this is going to be pretty slow beginnings here, folks, so make sure you guys are strapped in for this last minute, because right now DG is on utility usage, but they've already got the kitchen wall open, though. This is actually on really good time. I heard the torch going off, but I didn't know exactly if it was for prep, exactly what was going on there, but now they have the bakery wall open. This is very, very good. They've already set up for the small bake rotate as well with Reed outside, so they've got all of their bases covered. Now it's just down to the picks and getting through this defensive utility, in which there is a lot of.
Minute and 20 remaining. Once again, DG not really stressed for time. It's more so getting themselves actually set up. That seems to be the primary issue for their attack. At least just going off the 1 round and bringing some information in from the previous map here too. This round also going to start out well for TSM, as Merc will get the first kill, able to knock out from the Jaeger. He'll take out one of the players down below there. I believe that was from up on the 3rd floor that he was able to get that angle against the Zofia, who was sitting behind an AC unit on the 2nd floor ceiling.
Well, that's going to put a hindrance in DG's plans here, and this is the problem with this offense that they were going for. No top clear, just wanted to go horizontal, push through bakery, and try and get a defusal plant, but definitely not going to happen with 2 members of TSM upstairs. This verticality is going to be so difficult to deal with, and they're not adjusting any bodies to do so. So right now, stalled out. Timer ticking down low, and TSM lighting up the scoreboard once again. The Banshee slowing them down. They need to get rid of that so they can actually move through the site. Trying to plant here, but actually no. Bolo taking down NJR. It's all left up to Reed as he transitions into the kitchen area. Playing around K1. That Banshee's still alive. He takes down Achieve, but it's just going to be a participation trophy. TSM all over round 2. And just like we said in the pregame here, John, the offense is just not coming together for DG. Those adjustments not happening when they need to.
Yeah, the anchor setup in sight for TSM is doing its job fantastically right now, just waiting for the execute to come its way. And for the most part, these are relatively one-way executes, with the exception of the first round where we had a few players coming in late over by White Stairs to try to add additional pressure. The main bulk of the fighting is being done between just two angles, one for the defenders, one from the attackers, and this is making it very easy for the anchors on TSM to shut it down piece by piece. That on top of the roamers more so just being imposing in certain spots of the map than actually picking up kills for themselves or trying to delay the actual push. Through that, they're wasting a lot of time and causing DG to just have to go for these all-in plays that, at least for these first 2 rounds, have not really worked.
Yeah, what I've liked so much about what TSM has done up against DG so far, especially when it's like this, TSM on defense, DG on offense, is once it starts to get around that time where DG's starting to get pressured and they're going to be forced to make an adjustment, more reactive than proactive, right? TSM knows what's going on, and that's when they start to pressure the offense and get these picks, which slows DG down even more. I mean, if you guys saw Merc's positioning, he gets the pick from ticket window, and he just dips, runs right down red stairs, comes back down to assist his team. His job's already done. He took down J9, DG's down a man, and they're still stuck. They can't handle the vertical play, and they can't even push into sight properly because of the utility that TSM has set up.
So the third point on the site triangle. Oh, now being fought for here by TSM.
Oh, there it is.
And they may not have to fight for it that much. Yeah, I mean, it's Merc, so why not there? Throw it out. As he's able to just freely hold on one of the upstairs windows and say good night and goodbye to J90. He's not going to have any chance to play into this round whatsoever.
Yeah, this is a Merc that everyone absolutely loves to see. This is Merc feeling himself, folks, to see how he does throughout the rest of this game. Still plenty of rounds to be had, and he's already 4-0 through 3 rounds. Obviously not done with round 3 just yet, but still got to count it since that kill came in. TSM set up so well right now. I honestly thought Buck was in white somehow there for just a second, but Shuttle is actually on the white window. Could get a nice kill here onto Bolo. Doesn't work out for him, though. Not even any traded damage.
You can see Shuttle still waiting for an opportunity, hoping a player will try to swing from the top white stairs area to try to pick himself off, but not going to end up happening. Bolo's still safely tucked in the inside of washroom as well, and for the time being, Merc is going to hold himself back a little bit further, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be able to get some kills. Still has an angle to play off of, and he deletes Retro with said angle, taking him out of the fight. That's also the remaining bastion of hard breach that was still available here for DG's roster on this round, so they no longer have that option. They can't open up any of the walls. They do still have a good amount of utility, don't get me wrong. Their soft destruction is there in bounds, and they at least have smoke and molly coverage coming out from Reed here, along with the small can opener they can use to at least get a crawl hole opened up through. But whether that's going to be enough to get out onto the site, well, we're going to figure that out over the next minute or so here.
Oh, very difficult spacing here for DG. They use Capital's bolts to try and make some space, but don't really capitalize on anything. More droning than anything. You guys can see that TSM has so many of these angles covered. Still have one on white as well. And JR, don't believe you're going to be making it through here if you end up going for this, but see exactly how this works out. DG trying to get a game plan put together, but very slow moving right now. Smoke grenades now assigned for Reed. Breaching charge out is a swing with the Vector, lights up NJR, and he gets taken down by Achieve. The 1-2 punch from TSM that takes down DG. Finally, a kill happens. The Shuttle takes down Merc. Skeleton key out. Can't get the second one, but he will down him. Chala to clean up the rest of the business, though, for TSM. Bury those bodies in the backyard, folks. This is a murder so far from TSM.
Yeah, and this time the more active players, most notably Merc, I suppose, since he got both of those early kills, are able to find a much greater degree of success, making that process of just shutting down the overall attack from DG and forcing them into just 1 or 2 lanes for the final push is even easier, obviously, when you're working with a reduced man count. Beautiful work there from Merc on lining up those 2 early kills, and the rest of the team, of course, for sealing the deal once DG was, again, forced to make a play due to a lack of time.
Yeah, it's the same thing that has been, slowing them down throughout this entire series so far, and it's just those adjustments on offense like we were talking about, right? We really see them slow down and not really play off of each other's utility, specifically inside of that last round right there. That was, I believe, 3 disjointed fights that we didn't really see a chance of refrags coming from, and TSM lost DG lost almost every single one of them, all except for Shuttle's 1 kill. But again, not really having an overall impact on the round. DG not looking very strong on Cafe. Even looking over at the scoreboard right now, this offensive unit just not very strong.
Well, folks, you heard Parker and Kix talk about this earlier. We're going to bring it up to you as well because it's a great way to support some of your favorite teams that have been playing here in all of the regions as of late. New skins are available on the store, and for a limited time, 30% of the net revenue from these skins are going to be split equally amongst the Phase 3 teams. Make sure you go ahead in game, grab some of your favorite skins, and look good while you're doing it too, because it's a great chance to support some of your favorite players and organizations in the Rainbow Six scene.
And while you're doing that, why don't you indulge? Spend a little bit more money, get all of those esports skins. We just dropped some fresh ones out for you guys, and if you guys are a huge fan of the NAL, make sure you pick up that smoke skin. It looks absolutely beautiful with our logo and everything on it, especially that shotgun skin. You guys will see what I mean. Go check out the esports tab inside of the Rainbow Six Siege store. Get those skins for yourself now. Well, now jumping into the round here. Not too much time off the board, but now DG seem to have adapted for what's going on upstairs. Right now, it's looking like a cocktail take. NJR starting things off strong by taking down the man, the myth, the legend himself, Bolo. So looks like they have a dog in this fight.
Yeah, finally some early success being picked up here by DG. It was something that's been missing from all the previous rounds up until this point. So good to see that coming back into the fray. Now let's see how they transition it later on into the round here as well, because they don't need to be as hyper aggressive. They know they've got some players locked at cocktail here as well. Gio was in a very precarious spot there for a couple of moments. Looks like by opening the hatch and falling back through it, though, he's able to keep himself safe and, more importantly, bring the suspicions off of Merc so he can continue holding on the inside between the two bars.
Well, as long as TSM still has control of the cocktail
No,
area.
Merc.
Oh, no. Oh, that's exactly how that was written up right there. Exactly like the playbook ordered. Disrupt all over round 4. TSM now caught with their pants down. It's all left up to Chala and Achieved in a 2 versus 5. They still have most of their utility. Chala on the mute instead of the smoke, so they'll have the nitro cell, and really that's about it to try and prevent plan. Obviously, you can shoot them, but it's just the way that anybody could possibly handle that. Shifts over into dining. DG still not in upstairs inside a cocktail from what I'm able to see right now. They finally get, finally working J9 in up above, and Shuttle finally starting the vertical play here. This is looking like a DG round all over, unless TSM has something to say about it.
Yeah, so DG with a lot of control upstairs, still just trying to check off a few more things here before they fully commit themselves down white or try to swing in from the balcony doorway that Retro's lined up for right now. This is a very precarious situation, as once again, TSM has a small opportunity to try and delay this down a timer, and that's the kill they needed to do it. That's drop the diffuser. Problem, though, is that Achieve tries to go out for more, and Shala's position is already well known to the members of DG, so it's a quick shutdown in the 2vx at that point for DG to finally pick up a round here on the attack.
Very well done there from Disrupt, and an early pick from NJR. I want to see exactly where that came from. That's the real question for me. I wish we could get that perspective, but overall, a really nice round there from DG, adjusting to the cocktail take, which seemed to work out very, very well. So, I mean, I really don't have anything more to say about that round. It was a very good vertical play. TSM just missing quite a few things there, specifically Merc not dropping off earlier on, but he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. The Capital in the window with those crossbow bolts, as well as J9 playing inside of stacks. Not too many avenues that he could possibly use to get out of that situation safely. So we are going to be, I believe, on the rehost, folks. Yes, you guys are seeing our beautiful faces, so be waiting for a little bit, at least for round 5.
Yeah, I missed who called for the rehost, but I was gonna say if it was indeed a member of TSM that ended up calling for it, that could have contributed.
It was DG.
Oh, it was DG. Okay, so never mind. I just ignored what I just said. But yeah, ultimately right there, TSM. I think at the beginning of the round, more than anything, maybe overplaying their hand a little bit, like Gio's position specifically trying to fight out against that window hold right there. There were a few other things that I believe went wrong on the third floor as well for TSM, but we didn't get to have a great picture of what that looked like outside of the cocktail area. So that's one where I'm going to have to go back and watch the VOD to see where everything went wrong. And though prior to that, though, this has been a very TSM-centric game, as they have been, specifically Merc has been playing, lights out. The way he was able to perform on the third floor, wasn't able to carry that forward, of course, here into the fourth round where they finally took a loss. But other than that, it's all looking to DG right now to step up. And that last round was exactly what we needed to see. Some great play coming out of them. They dealt with the roaming presence early on, got more kills on top of that as well, and finally reversed the curse of what had been happening previously, where they just couldn't even find those players or didn't want to contest them. And as a result, that had to go into these incredibly lengthy 5v5 duels, or duels where they were at a man disadvantage that just was never really ever going to work in their favor, it seemed like, based on the way they were playing out.
Yeah, I think that's also chalked up to DG handling the map in a completely different way. They were a lot safer coming off of spawn, as well as when they went for that cocktail take. They had the assistance coming in through Christmas as well, with J9, pushing himself through, long bar and everything upstairs to be able to, handle the situation that was going on inside of cocktail. They just went about it in a different way, and I think that was the whole reason that they end up catching TSM off guard there. TSM was, very well prepared for the straight up gunfights happening on the cocktail side of the map, but they weren't ready for the pinch to happen with J9, transitioning through the bar area.
So this now falls to TSM, of course, to make up for these mistakes going on to the next round here, which will be round 5 coming up once we get all the players back into the server, which hopefully is just going to be a few minutes away. Their choices for sites are going to come down. If I'm remembering it correctly, I think third floor is still locked because that's the one they just most recently won. But second floor and first floor should be an option to them now. And it's really up to them, right? Because obviously second floor just now didn't go that great. But that's mainly because of the upstairs hold. So if they change up a few things there and have a plan B ready to go, they could just hop right back into it and reattempt that same site. But at the same time, their first floor defense also went just as well as the second floor defense did initially. So that's a tempting choice for them here too. We'll see that, of course, when we get back in game, but just kind of talking about those possibilities a little bit to see where we might be going once we do get back in the server.
There's quite a few avenues that they can take on that middle floor, but I think it's one of those things where they just go back to what's working, guarantee, either the 5-1 or the 4-2 split. Change some things up on down the road, but for right now, TSM looking quite strong on defense. They're taking their time. They're allowing DG to fall into these traps of stalling out and just not really having the utility at their disposal that they need to handle some of these situations that they've put themselves in. Granted, they have been able to move quite quickly in certain situations, like taking control of bakery and getting the wall open when inside of their kitchen offense, but even inside of that round, it was still the picks coming from the top floor as they tried to transition into clearing that mid-level so that they would have verticality that end up thwarting all of their plans. So for DG, I really do think it is just, slow things down, take everything one step at a time, and make sure you don't allow those early picks to happen.
Just to move the discussion along a little bit here while we are waiting, we should just be, hopefully, guys, about a minute or two here away from starting based on what I can see in the server right now. But obviously, we're just waiting on like 1 or 2 more players to reconnect, and we got to get all the sides sorted out. What do we think about J9O's play so far in this series for his first time on DG here?
I would say he's looking damn good.
Yeah.
He's looking really good coming into this lineup. I think that he flushes everything out. DG is looking very competitive. Even inside of these rounds where, everything isn't going their way, I still can chalk that up to, okay, J9's fresh to the team. The utility cohesion that you usually have with a team that's been together for a very long time, i.e. like teams like SSG where you see things done flawlessly almost every single time, that isn't there yet. So for DG, I really think that it is just allowing this team a little more time, a little bit more prep into their game plans to really flush everything out, and DG will be definitely a force to be reckoned with.
And it definitely seems like, there's a lot of trust in J9O's ability to perform. We are going live again, folks, once again here, so as soon as we confirm there are no immediate issues when we jump back into the server, we should be live once again. But just to continue the discussion on J9 a little bit, they're trusting him. They're putting him in very risky positions if he ends up dying there. Think of like when they threw him on the closet hole back on Villa, things like that. So they're putting a lot of faith into him. And I think, as you were mentioning, once he's had more time to really lock himself into this team and he's able to play with, the already impressive performance that we're seeing from guys like NJR as well, who are also out and about in very risky positions for this team, that could be a very powerful combo once everything's locked in and this had a few weeks to develop.
We'll see if they can adapt to anything going on inside of this kitchen round, as this will be the second time DG has seen this. They already had a really nice counter to the reading defense from TSM, so see if they can go for 2. Maybe actually the exact same lineup that TSM brought the last time. Merc still on the Jaeger. Remember, guys, since we did go through that rehost, all of the KDAs are going to be reset. So we will have the total for you guys, I'm assuming, on CGG as we usually do. So check that for the full lineup. But right now, Merc still sitting at, I believe, 5 frags. I think he got one in the last round before he got picked off, but it could definitely still be at 4. Nevertheless, still really strong defensive showing here from TSM so far.
May also get to see those stats post-game too, folks, so make sure you stick around for that as well. As if our in-game stats folks are savvy enough, they may be able to piece that together for you too. But either way, moving the discussion into this round itself, it does look like TSM opted for the option to go downstairs again instead of repeating the second floor site hold. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to see any play on the second floor. In fact, very much the opposite of that. Bolo is up here actively defending it there. Going to look to see if he can knock down anyone. And it's third floor play as well. We have 2 other players up here. So TSM playing very spread out right now, which could prove itself to be dangerous. Thankfully, it looks like everybody is, for the most part, set up to trade here of those that are grouped up with another player. So it may not end up being such a huge issue. That'll all be decided once we start to see some of these players meet.
Well, DG starting things off here. Only 45 seconds down. Plenty to worry about here, obviously. TSM very forthcoming with this roam game. You guys can see they have achieved Bolo as well as Merc all on the extended roam right now, and just rocking the staircases, making sure that this is going to be a forced slow take here for DG. They have a lot of people to worry about, as could be a run out there, but it doesn't seem so. It seems as though it's a feint as TSM takes control of the dining bar area down here, or whiskey, as people have grown to call it now. DG still just trying to get things set up and game planned out on how they want to handle this. Seems as though they are worried about this roam game. So TSM working things exactly how they wanted to, and Bolo using that backpack on site now to still see as to make it seem as though his presence is still upstairs.
Overall, though, a lot of quiet right now from DG. They've bargained for the control that they have already for themselves here, but keep in mind, this is a problem which has shown up before. Thankfully, that problem is going to be alleviated with NJR getting the first frag of the round there. Does take out Merc, trying to swing closer towards White Stairs, and it would appear NJR already had the angle ready to go, so he wins out that gunfight. We'll start to see a little bit more self-destruction being worked towards here. Mainly being done by J9O as he sets up those breach charges. Reed will get the can opener onto the hatch to open that up and give DG their drop-down option if they want to go for site control. 50 seconds remain, so we are getting close to that point where DG do need to start forcing the issue, or they'll once again be up against the wall with not enough time in order to get that diffuser down on the ground while properly dispatching of the TSM hold in sight as well here. A bit of calm as they try to work the top-down angles, but they don't seem to be finding much. No one from TSM has been scrambled out of position, and they're not seeing anything either. Still using a lot of this time, and what's this? It's going to be a move made by a player from its Bolo. Swings all the way up the stairs, tries to go for 2, but is only going to be able to get himself a 1-for-1. Regardless, they got him some good intel. He only saw 2 players on the inside there, so he has to know the other 2 are coming from a different point on the map. Regardless, though, Geo ends up going into a position directly below one of these top-down angles and gets taken out by Retro. 5 seconds remain here. Are they going to be able to get the plant? Diffuser has just been dropped. It's not looking good. Chala is on a tear right now with 3 kills back to back to back, and those kills are going to be enough to bring it down to the timer and give the round over to TSM.
So well done from TSM, but oh my Chala, what a game sense that man has.
Gio's like mad that he died there. Look.
Hey man, listen, Gio, it happens to the best of us, man. Verticality is not fun. I get it. Everybody else gets it. It's not a good time. But I mean, hey, well played by TSM. Good patience there. I understand the frustration for Gio though. That verticality inside of that, especially kitchen site, it's very difficult to get around. There's not very many places to be able to play safe. Like, I don't know who it was. I want to say it was Maestro that I saw laying behind bunker, if I know my silhouette's good enough. But he just prone behind the bunker the entire time. And the thing that I was going to get on them before Bolo just took him completely out of the game was Reed. He still had crossbow bolts that he could have utilized to break up where these people can possibly be inside of sight. There's so many little safe areas that they can possibly play where you're going to have those anchors try and set up that they can abuse when they go for that execute. They just weren't aware of, obviously, Bolo forcing himself up red.
All right, folks. Well, it's do or die time here for DG primarily. They've only picked up 1 round so far on this attack here on Cafe. TSM is able to rally themselves together for yet another round and make it 5-1. That is going to be asking quite a bit of their defense to try and run a full-on comeback from that. TSM would only need 2 rounds at that point to be able to close things out on their own attack in the second half here. As we start to run down the timer itself, we'll get a better idea as to what the extended setup is going to look like for TSM. And just like last time they played onto the site, there is quite a bit of emphasis on to the cocktail hold, much as you would expect here. This got torn apart last time, though, by DG, so this is a very important piece of the puzzle to decide if TSM are going to come out on top of this round or not.
This is what we need to see from TSM upstairs. You see that they recognize that it's a cocktail take, right? Well, now they're going to adjust their men around the map to actually counter out what they're going to do. So now Merc's got a much better positioning playing inside of Cigar. He's more than likely going to have possibly 1 gunfight, but Bolo's playing the bottom of red. So if somebody drops here, Bolo has the flank, Merc has the top of the staircase, and they can get a nice pinch going on to slow this down. Gio's moved himself now into cocktail with those toxic babes, so he can deny for quite a while, especially on the windows, like he's doing right now, and maintain this vertical control as long as possible. In worst case scenario, if they do come to take down Gio, you just have Bolo and Merc rotate back across the map and start to help him on these windows.
Gio's still working on that denial. Second toxic gas grenade having gone out. He'll have 1 more to distribute once this timer has expired, which is going to right now. Away from that, J9 did successfully drop down Red Hatch, it looks like. He hasn't been able to chase down the kill, but that's going to change right now, despite the fact that he was nearly right around 1 HP. I think he's at 5, realistically, but still ends up getting the better of Merc, because he did not expect him to follow him to the inside of Cigar.
Yeah, Merc lead him on a wild goose chase here, and you guys can see it's actually worth its weight, I could say. 100, Jesus, Mary... 100.
You're right
I almost said 100 again. 110 on the clock. Oh my, the words are falling out of my mouth here. DG now have top control. Hey, I only did it once today. We're good. Anyways, DG now having top control here. This is going to be very pivotal to this round, especially with Shuttle's verticality attempts. But this is going to be the problem. No flank watch up, guys. You have 5 men alive, folks. Somebody's got to be watching those red stairs. You let them do it again. You think you would have learned your lesson the last time with Bolo, but oh no. It's achieved now. The call of honor here. Can he possibly get it done? Already taken down 1. They need to handle this situation. They're worried about him now, but need to be worried about what's going on site. This is just all delaying time. They're waiting for him to peek from somewhere. He lights Shuttle up, but he wins the gunfight, achieved with a double so far. And TSM running DG through the works. It's all now down to Retro, but that's not even going to matter. Take the words right out of my mouth. It's a TSM round. That's a 5-1 split from this defensive half.
Chief's flank, which is great, by the way. Massive heads-up play from him, but as you mentioned, it goes unnoticed due to the lack of a flank watch, and it's going to be even more embarrassing for DG. I don't know if the drone that he shot about 5 to 10 seconds after he got his first kill was pre-placed or not, but if that was there and initially saw him making the move and they still weren't able to avoid it, that is a big failure on DG's intel game that they're going to need to take a look at later on.
Hey, I will say this though, huge read there by TSM, knowing that DG thought that the cocktail take was going to be the best, the best avenue to go again, and then changing things up to force them to have to clear that entire top floor. You guys saw how much time that took. It took so long for them to deal with Merc. Merc died at 1 minute and 20 seconds left or something along those lines. That's so much time wasted, as well as damage taken by the offense in the utility department to deal with that roamer. And then obviously you still have the rest of TSM to deal with. A Chief throws another curveball, comes up red. It was just the TSM show overall. DG, you have to give more respect to that roam game here on Cafe, or that's going to happen every single time.
Well, now thankfully for Disrupt, they'll have an opportunity to abuse the roam game a little bit here, as they're going to be on defense, and TSM's attack will be tested. The defense from Disrupt looked very promising on Villa, and now it's time to test it on Cafe here. And if memory serves me correctly, this is the map pick from Disrupt as well, so we would hope it is in good shape. And yeah, just confirming that it is indeed the map pick from Disrupt. So let's take a look here. They're going to be on the first floor defense. Got TSM out onto the board, bringing somewhat of a similar flavor to what we've seen from other teams. A little bit more with regards to flank watch, though, and the fact that we have the Nomad in play for Chala here on TSM's attacking roster.
Well, we'll have to see how TSM handles this offense. As you said, the roster looking strong. They got Gio on the hard breach. Not bringing any of the secondary hard breach, though. So, could be possibly something that could change some things up. Shuttle looking for a hop out onto White Top over here. Doesn't look like he's really going to get anything, as TSM has already worked their way around the map and decided which way they want to take this. It looks as though, well, it actually looks as though mining and possibly engine are free. TSM now starting things off inside of Bakery. Don't exactly know what's going on with the vertical game here for DG. Yeah, everything's basically free, all except for NJR playing inside of the red hallway, so it seems that he's been assigned this area. He does have some vertical play, but not as much as TSM had on their previous round. Belo's going to get the very first kill. That's going to be onto NJR as well. He was simply holding his angle there. Ends up bagging one, and Merc with another. DG once again falling victim to putting their faces in places where they're not supposed to be.
That first kill on Bull is actually a pretty good find, because that's against the player on the second floor, if I was looking at it correctly right there.
I don't exactly know how that happened either. I think that he just shot him through the vertical play. Either that or he impacted that soft area right where the metal panel is inside of Train, and then just shot immediately through it and killed him. Either way, so well done by him. TSM now, though, focused onto the kitchen offense, clearing out all of this utility.
Still a good amount of time in order to be able to work here. See, now I'm doing it too. TSM,
it's a curse.
With a little under half the round remaining here, is going to be in good position. Achieved and Shuttle are going to trade blows between each other, knocking off some HP from either player. Achieved wants to end it with a nade and nearly does it too. Shuttle's going to take even more heat. It's not enough to kill him though. He's still alive, standing tall right around the corner on that silhouette that you just saw a moment ago. And now from his perspective, really time to see if he wants to make a move here or not. Reed is around the corner too, but Achieved finally gets the job done, just decides to commit the second nade to it. The problem though is, despite the fact that he's aware of Reed's position by Kochek, still can't win the duel against the Alda. But the good news is the high ground will win this one. Chala holding that transition between the first and second floor on the red stairs, allow him to shut down the final rotate coming in from the defenders and set up yet another round for TSM that will also put them on map and match point.
Yeah, Maestro looking a lot like Anakin there in that last little instance. So TSM and DG now on map and match point. TSM well within their right to win this one. They are dominant here on Cafe. And honestly, like, just looking at the setup overall for DG, there is a couple of missed measures there that they could possibly use to not allow TSM to have so much pressure on site. Most notably, they reinforced both of their panels into the red hallway. If you don't reinforce that left panel that we saw Chala staring at in the side of the kill feed, you can actually play that from Kochek to help alleviate some of that pressure from them getting onto the back end of the K1 and K2 area. Some things along those lines where you can actually space out the defense to hold some more supporting angles. That time around, it really did seem as though DG was like, hey, we're just going to put two people, on the mid floor and see what we can possibly get to go on. We had Shuttle all the way over in Cocktail to start with a possible hop out onto White Top. We then have NJR inside of Train, but he immediately dies, and then it's just a TSM round through and through from there on out. I mean, they had full map control of the front, the west side of the building that they really needed to get that diffuser to go down. There really wasn't an avenue for DG to take that back once the flank watch and air jabs and everything else was set up.
All right, folks, well, this is it once again for DG. They're up against the wall. I know he said it once at the end of the last half, but it's that time again. Do or die here for DG, as they are quite literally only one round away now from being knocked out of this match. TSM feeling very confident about themselves in the early, mid, and late rounds. There's not a lot of narrative that would drive us to believe that DG can make a comeback right now, but hopefully they can show us something to the contrary. TSM moving pretty slowly here at the start of the round. To be fair, it's kind of what you would expect given it's a third floor take. There's a lot of preparatory intel that TSM need to get for themselves before they even attempt to make any aggressive moves against the third floor hold here from DG.
Alibi pickup here for DG, bringing her for the shield, I'm going to assume, as well as obviously those prismas that can help you out quite a bit. But they're all dedicated inside of Christmas right now, so just more begging for the pre-fires from TSM more than anything. Just trying to keep those to a minimum more than likely. And JR not spotting out the drone there on the skylight, but obviously we have the silhouettes. That makes it a whole hell of a lot easier for us to see those. So, and JR now getting very aggressive here. Gets taken down by Bolo on the heaven window. Very big misplay there by him. I mean, it's only a minute and 15 seconds in, my friend. That's a kind of a blunder there to be taken out so early. Still so much time for TSM to actually work their way onto site.
Good angle work from TSM too, just to isolate out a player like that and guarantee that he's going to die, assuming they were able to get him to swing. Once again, great play being utilized by TSM. Now just have to push that forward a little bit for the next 4 kills, and the job is done. Kill number 2 is already on the way, and that's going to be Merc that achieves it. Is able to take out Shuttle, bringing this down to a 5v3. Christmas control also should be theirs too. A good refrag coming in from Reed, but Polo is on that so quickly and potentially even expecting that white run out if the player from DG that's near there wants to try and do it.
Well, DG still have freezer presence. It's up to the SAS operators to close this one out in the last 50 seconds here. We're going to need a pick to start things off, but goes fishing. Can't claim too much. J9, the rookie. We're going to need him to come up big here, but no, Geo, he gets a second chance and he wins it. It's all left up to Retro. Seen him in these clutch positions before. He's definitely good for it, but is he good up against this TSM roster? Has to worry about a man on white window, but it's Geo once again to lock it out for TSM. Such a dominant showing here on Cafe, and they're going to win this one in 2-0 fashion.
Yeah, and I mean, TSM's dominance is really shown in that last round to a huge degree. Every single kill we were seeing TSM getting, there was usually, like, if the first player that was taking the fight failed, there was a good 1 to 2 other players on almost every single frag we saw there from TSM, ready to trade that at a moment's notice. That was a masterclass play, to be sure, on the attacking side, and a very, very successful map overall from the TSM roster. Like we said, we don't have the final scores in terms of frags or anything like that, so we're probably going to get that for you in the post game, and if not, you can go ahead over onto Siege GG and check those out for yourself. Bolo, of course, looking impressive, as did Merc in quite a few of those rounds, especially on the defensive side.
I would say both teams looking very good in their own respects, but when it came to Cafe, TSM just outclassing DG on almost every single front, whether it be defensive or offensive sided. But the thing to mostly notate on that offensive side is that TSM utilized those windows so much more for the crossfires that we saw while handling a lot of these sites. It worked out super well for them. DG just could not figure out how to get around those and win those gunfights.
And for DG, not necessarily the greatest start to the stage for them, but hopefully when they're able to hone their map a little bit more, things will start to improve. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will do it for Stokes and myself here on the broadcast this evening. But don't go anywhere, because we're going to send it right down to the analysis desk to break down this series and send us off for the night.
All right, thank you so much, Blue and Stokes, for your awesome casting as always. Hope that you have a wonderful evening. But TSM taking it, destroying Disrupt. We're going to bring to our analysts, and we're going to break down what we saw and take a look at the highlights.
Hey, I don't know what happened to Jackie, but I'll pick it up from here, man. I mean, let's just take a look at what's happening on the screen right now. Merc getting double kill, TSM going off. This was TSM's game from beginning to end, and the new look Disrupt Gaming, it looks like they ran out of steam after the first map, right, Jesse?
Oh, for sure. I just wrote down noodles for the last round in my notes because they just played like noodles. This play, look at this. Chala to cut myself off with the Alda. Oh my god, that was so nice. Really slammed everybody, and part of that is on Disrupt not really having the time to drop down and go for the execute that they wanted. But that was a really nice play from Chala. Probably the quietest member of TSM, but it's nice that he still gets his frags. All in all, you're not going to see very many DG kills in this highlight reel because it was quite a one-sided map. Credit where credit is due. TSM showed why they were the favorites coming into this one, I think.
Yeah, one of my favorite highlights right there. Oh, Jackie, welcome back, Jackie.
Can you guys hear me now?
Hey.
Aww.
We hear you
good,
now.
good.
Listen, welcome back.
Yay. Hi,
Go
gentlemen.
ahead, kick things off.
No, actually, I was just admiring some of Merc's plays that we were showing. I thought that he's back. He's looking fantastic. I love his storyline so much because Stage 1 was certainly a little bit rocky for him, but he is starting off Stage 2 strong, Jesse. I'm sure you agree with that.
Oh, 100%. I, honest to God, almost forgot about his first stage performance, and I don't think it's really worth worrying about too much if you're a TSM fan. Merc played really well. I think, contrasting sort of Merc on this map too, and Bolo popping off on map 1. Not that, the opposite players did poorly on either maps, but Merc plays a little bit more individualistic. You saw him going for some more cheeky, aggressive plays, and that was kind of nice to see because you know that TSM always has that potential. It really is amazing just the skill and raw talent that TSM has amongst their rosters.
And Veli, I know that you were sounding off about Merc a little bit as well, talking specifically about his spawn peaks on J90, right?
Oh, yes. Merc, I think that Merc set the tone for this TSM win, right? I mean, look at J90. He's 2-7, mostly in part of Merc. I lost count because I had to go to the bathroom. I did bring my Predator
Oh my
laptop, but I
gosh.
was watching
Why?
behind, right?
Why?
And I believe it was 2 or 3 rounds in a row. Merc was able to get J9O out the way. If it wasn't just Merc, other teammates probably helped him out. But I believe it was just Merc. But point of the matter is, J9O plays a very important part on this roster, especially as Zofia, okay? Zofia, with her utility, she's supposed to be getting rid of Goyo's shields, Maestro's evil eyes, whatever. What might you have it be on the board of utility he has to get rid of, right? By getting rid of J9O, Disrupt Gaming, they didn't have enough firepower in their arsenal to get rid of everything TSM was throwing at them. So when you have Bolo on Goyo, you have Malusi out there with the little wubs, her banshees laid out, all 3 of them. It's hard to fight around that, especially against a team like TSM that shoot extremely well, and you're being affected and you can't get rid of it. That's almost like you're walking into a loss in the first round, right? It's an uphill battle from that point on.
Yeah, and I think it's disappointing to see a couple of the players on Disrupt Gaming not having exactly the games that they wanted. Retro being at the bottom specifically hurts because he did struggle with that a lot in the first stage. Now, obviously, he's a support player, but you still want your support players to be doing a little bit better than what we've seen. And then Jin, I know, of course, like being pretty new to this roster, not having the greatest map. I hope that these are just like bumps that will get ironed out down the road.
Well,
Merc gave him a good welcome to the big leagues.
Yes, he did, didn't he? And I actually think, Veli said something about, does DG have the firepower to be a contender? And Jesse, real talk, after this last map, things could be very difficult for Disrupt this season. I think that relegation could be a reality for them.
Definitely, and we're going to keep bringing this up throughout the entire stage too, because relegation is so important and Challenger League looks so good. And I'm looking at these week 1 games and I'd say, well, the favorites to get relegated last stage did really good. Like E United surprised everybody. Tempo Storm got the win over Oxygen. Disrupt Gaming looked okay. They looked fine. And maybe if they were playing in last stage for relegations, this roster and this performance would be fine. But I don't know that it is here. And, there were a couple more teams that didn't really perform up to their standards. Obviously, Oxygen had a bad week. The Sonics didn't look very good in their opening game. But those are experienced teams, and we expect them to pick it up later on in the season. I am very worried for Disrupt Gaming.
Vela, you said right. Do you feel the same way then?
Yes.
Well, you said,
Jackie.
hold on. I'm going to call you out a little bit here because
I'm agreeing with you.
after map 1, you were like, oh, okay, like look at the U.S. division right now. So you're pulling the flip-flop now. That's all I'm going to say, okay?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. You didn't hear what I was about to say.
Okay.
I was going to say, Jackie, do you watch Challenger League too?
Yes,
like,
I
you
do,
cover that.
yes.
You know what type of talent
Oh
is
my
out
gosh,
there.
certainly.
Butters, Thomas,
True.
Filthy, all those players want to make it up to tier 1. And they wanted, so I was just talking to Thomas not too long ago in the DMs. He's hungry for it. The man wants it, right? Disrupt Gaming, these other teams, if they don't get it together, there's some quality professional level teams that's down there waiting to beat you to take your spot.
It's scary.
Yeah.
I just felt on the pit of my stomach because I do watch and you can feel the hunger and the energy coming off the screen. Like they are fighting tooth and nail to be here. So we'll see how things play out for Disrupt. But let's talk positive here. And we got our interview ready with Achieved. Congrats on the win. How are you feeling about this victory, Achieved?
How you doing, Jackie? I mean, it's a good win, but
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of expected it, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad we won though.
Yes, I'm sure that y'all expected it. You're a very talented team, but I'm sure it feels really good to bounce back from the August Major Finals. Talk to me a little bit about your prep during this break and how you took that loss and the improvements you decided y'all wanted to make from there.
So to be honest, we haven't actually had much practice in between the major and this stage because we just moved from. We're all in a team house now. We just moved, so we honestly kind of had like a lot of time off. But I'd say like our practice lately has actually been really productive. But I mean, we kind of just we just reevaluated like how we played in the major because we kind of played like scared and stuff. I'd say, but now we're trying to play more like ourselves and be more open to making plays and stuff and just communicate and teamwork most importantly.
you're talking to me about playing scared, and when we watched those finals, it was a crushing defeat, and I think y'all were like, we really need to change our mindset here. So what have you done to regain that confidence? What are y'all telling each other?
I mean, for the last few months, we've been playing really utility based, and I think that's definitely helped us. But the meta is not utility based anymore; it's more like frag fest, and you can see that with a lot of other teams. So I just think we've just been practicing that new play style. We know how to play our old play style still too, so we can play both play styles really easy. But I mean, we're just overall practicing a lot and just fine tuning our mistakes and learning this more aggressive play style, so to speak.
Okay, adjusting your play style, adjusting your mindset. That's great to hear. Some say TSM is kind of always stuck at second or third. Seeing that we're moving into stage 2 here, and a lot of teams playing very well, how do you think your team can do? Do you think that you guys can be the best in the U.S.?
I mean, I definitely think we can be the best in the U.S. I think obviously everyone thinks that, but I mean, I think overall, we have had the second and third place finishes now for a little bit. But I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of the times people sleep on us still to this day. So I mean, they just have to watch out for that. But overall, I mean, I think we can become the best. We all here think we can, as long as we play to our strengths and just play our game. We'll be fine and just keep improving and getting better. So I definitely think we can take first place this season.
Aw, I love to hear the confidence. And again, thank you so much for doing this interview with us, and enjoy your victory.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Achieved. Now let's bring it back to our analysts, Veli and Jesse. He's always such a lovely interview. What's the hand up for? What's up?
I just looked at Twitter, and CGG posted the full stats, and things happen so fast. I don't know if I looked at them on the program yet, but I'm looking at it again. Bolo had he had 1.3 kills per round.
Wow, that's really high. That's very
for
impressive.
Siege. That is extremely impressive. That's you're on fire at that point.
He's a beast.
That's insane.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, TSM looking very sharp. Jesse was talking about Merc. I mean, obviously Achieved is an exceptional player, but Bolo, man. Bolo, that's all you got to say there.
Yeah.
So talking about Bolo, what do you guys think the Corsair play of the day is going to be?
Oh man, I forgot this was coming.
We always forget. We get so
Wake up!
excited about the matchups
Wake up,
and
guys!
storylines. You know what?
Huh.
I'll tell you when the clip starts playing. Production, ready.
Oh goodness. Okay, yeah, let's
Does that
roll it.
work?
Maybe that. maybe
Corsair
all the
play of the
from
day.
Chala.
Let's see what it is. Roll the tape and
That's what I'm gonna pick.
okay, let's see.
No, this is old.
Oh, okay. From our first match of the day.
Is this the one that went down to the...
Is this the Kansan
I'm
play?
God,
trying
I
to
mean,
remember.
Oh, this is the clutch. This is the Echo
Oh,
clutch.
yes.
This won them the game. A utility
Yes.
play. That's really interesting. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's a good.
like that
That's
a
a good,
lot.
good
It
one.
was
We're gonna
winning.
play it one more time so y'all can digest it again. But honestly,
So basically, Canadian to 1v4. This is a round he should definitely lose. Is Echo, I'm surprised he's not wearing the Space Station Gaming skin. He had the utility up. He had the Yokai drone available, and that alone won him the round. That just shows, hey, make sure all your corners are checked. You got to make sure you're on point, especially going against Canadian on an Echo.
Canadian.
Play IQ.
On IQ, yes, Canadian. Enough said there. But all right, gentlemen, let's wrap things up. Let's look over the bracket and recap the day very quickly. Jesse, can you please break down Group B for us? Definitely an exciting matchup for us today. Saw a lot of action on Monday as well. So.
Absolutely, Jackie. Let's get into this bracket. So Tempo Storm and TSM have walked away with a win. Obviously, Tempo Storm upsetting Auction Esports. That shocked a lot of people. They're going to play in the upper bracket matchup sometime next week, and the winner of that will be locked in to the Group A, the winner's group for Phase 2. On the lower side, though, Auction versus Disrupt Gaming, the loser. That one gets locked into Group B, the loser's group for Phase 2. So two highly important matches. From here on out, it's basically nothing but important matches for every single team. So this one's already had some upsets. I'm sure it's going to continue to deliver some great games.
And Veli, let's talk about Group A. Oh my gosh, I can't say Group A.
Group A is the group of death to me, especially for the fact that E United showed up. They weren't able to get the win, but still, they showed us that this is a brand new team that's looking to get more wins than they did stage 1. They lost against Space Station Gaming. It was a sweep 2-0, and Dark Zero, dominant as ever. They're looking like the outright best team in all of NA right now. They completely destroyed the Sonics, and they'll be facing off against SSG next time we see this group play.
Okay, so gentlemen, we went over the Corsair play of the day earlier, but you all were juggling with different plays in your head. I want to know, what's the play of the day for each of you? What really stuck out to Veli and Jesse today? Ooh.
There was a play by Kansan where Kansan is Maestro. He got a 2K, and it was just a split second, and he got the shot. I don't know if it was Jesse or Parker that made the sound, but someone said, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, shoot, that was really nice." I was really happy to see Kansan play and see what he was really about, and he impressed me big time.
Actually, Veli,
Yeah,
and before,
also-
sorry, Jesse, before you get into that, I would like to pick both of your brains about Kenzen and Rexon's contributions to their team today, because E United was just on fire, and I feel like we didn't get to touch on that enough, but maybe we could touch on that really briefly, just how you felt about those roster changes for E United. Veli, I'll bring it back
For
to
E
you.
United, I thought I'm so sorry. I'm going to make it quick because it's the end of the day. It was well needed. They needed a pure entry fragger. Rexon, he could give you exactly that. The numbers was not lying. He made magic happen, okay? Kansan, it was unexpected what he was going to do on the battlefield, but he definitely didn't disappoint. I loved his Maestro play. But overall, you can't just give credit to these two players because it was a full team effort, and they all helped each other be successful, and that's why the stat line was as even as you saw it. So E United, I can't wait to see the next game, and I hope this is a team that continues to get better down the line.
And it looks like we have our schedule ready, so actually we're just going to pull that up and take a quick look. And Jesse, maybe you can break that down for everybody at home for us.
For sure. So games return Monday, September 21st. That's next Monday. We're going to start off with Sonics versus E United, the Group A game. And these are, of course, the losers' games that will be going down on Monday. So the loser of each of these two matchups will head to Group B for Phase 2. Sonics versus E United should be a really fun one. Following that one will be Auction versus Disrupt Gaming. Auction, again, not expecting to be down here, so maybe not so prepared for DG.
All right, gentlemen, and it has been a long day, but thank you all at home for bearing with us. I know that Jesse and Veli, y'all are awesome. You worked so hard today, so I know you guys got to record a show after this. I'm going to be like, peace. But anyway, it's been a really wonderful Wednesday, so big thank you to my analysts, big thank you to the casters at home, big thank you to the crew here. Love you all to pieces, and obviously a big thank you to all of you. And do not forget, we got some Canadian action on Friday. Don't forget to check out the show that Veli is on. Stokes and Blue and Jess, they all do a great job. And make sure you follow us on social, too. Lots of hilarious stuff on there. But have a wonderful evening. Bye, everybody. See you later. Bye.
I love you guys.
Love you, too.
Till next time.
Seconds remaining. That's the drop the bomb. Defender is exposed. Defender has left the designated staging area. 15 seconds left. Remaining. Attackers drop the diffuser. Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser. 5 seconds left. Operators, you have